am live. I am back with my Genshin. We're here. More story quests. Let's go. Don't mind the blanket. I'm fine. I'm not dying. Everything is fine. I made me nervous for a second because I was like, is there another thunderstorm outside? No, it's calm for right now. That may change. Who knows? It is been a crazy monsoon season. Hopefully that's not.
Think about it, Tighnari. Refusing to join is tantamount to burying your head in the sand. I understand that you're a forest watcher, and that it's your duty to combat the effects of withering zones. But isn't it evident that such work is not a lasting solution to the problem? As Sage Kage clearly stated, your presence and guidance in Sumeru City is pivotal in finding a cure for Irminsul. How could you possibly refuse?
Keep your emotions in check, Ghulam. Let's at least listen to Tighnari's reason for declining. We're here to invite him to the Academia, not to cause a scene.
Sage Kage, I am truly honored that you came here in person, but I'm afraid I must still decline your invitation.
They are desperate. I mean, we'll see what they're about, but, like, very persistent. Not surprising, though.
I am merely a forest watcher. How could the great minds of the Haravatat have any need of someone like me?
I can't tell if he's, like, kind of messing with them or just trying to humble himself to get them to go away.
Well, it turns out that your refusal letter had some implications on your master's reputation. He is a renowned sage of the Immorta, after all. So now I've come here in his stead.
I see. Huh. And I figured that given his temper, he would come here and berate me personally.
I'm kind of looking forward to meeting his master now. It's just because that sounds like that will at least be entertaining to watch.
Tighnari, your master is an integral part of this effort, and now he requires your assistance.
And what exactly does my master need of me, Sage Kage?
You'll know once you've arrived in Sumeru City, that is.
Not if you go to Sumeru City once you've arrived. The implication being that they're gonna not take no for an answer this time, I think. Are we gonna have to intervene? I hope so. I look forward to this greatly.
And how long will I be required to stay?
There's no definite answer as of now.
This is starting to sound vaguely like illegal kidnapping. We may have to intervene.
Do you mean to tell me that despite coming all the way here to Gandharvaville, you still can't answer the questions I laid out in the letter to my master?
I think he's getting grumpy.
If that's the case, then I'm afraid I cannot give you a definite answer either.
Tighnari, but you...
So be it. Come, Ghulam, we're leaving.
This is not the end of this conversation, is it? We're just gonna keep walking. Don't mind us. Don't mind us at all.
Tighnari, what was that all about?
You good friend.
It's nothing. Some people from the Academia wanted me to go to Sumeru City to assist them with a project, but I had to refuse on account of all my responsibilities here.
And also because they sound like passive pricks, so... And chances are whatever they're doing probably wouldn't work anyway.
But all that can wait. How did things go with Hypatia?
It was quite the eventful trip, but the main thing is that she's safe and sound. She answered a bunch of questions for us, too.
That's what we did last time.
Now that the Traveler has made a full recovery, there shouldn't be any reason for you to tarry here longer. I assume you will be heading to Sumeru City, correct?
Yes.
That's right. We want to meet Lesser Lord Kusanali and ask her for advice. Do you have any idea on how we can find
This is not going to go well.
Sorry. I'm afraid I don't have any advice for you there.
Of course not.
Well, do you at least know anyone we can try asking in Sumeru City?
Let me think. My trips to Sumeru City have been fairly short, and most of my acquaintances are researchers. How about this? I'll write you a letter of introduction that you can give to a researcher I know. He's from the Amorta Darshan and is adept at gathering information. Asking him might prove worthwhile.
Cool.
Also, when you enter Sumeru City, you'll probably end up receiving something like this item here. I'm not sure if it will ever come in handy for you, but maybe you can give it a try.
Oh? What is it?
It's called an Akasha Terminal. It's a tool produced by the Academia that utilizes the legacy of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. Some say that this very item is the basis of Sumeru's reputation as the City of Wisdom.
It's interesting that despite the fact that someone else is their current Archon, they still rely so heavily on what the previous one did. I wonder if that's going to have any effects on how this current Archon views herself.
Needless to say, this device and its usage fall under the Academia's expertise. So I'll leave it to them to show you how to use it.
Great! Next up, Sumeru City! Oh, but wait, before that...
We need to say goodbye to friend.
That's right!
We can't just
Hanari,
leave.
we have something important to say to Kale before we leave. Is she doing better now?
You can't just leave without saying something. That would be terribly rude.
Yes, she's doing much better. After being confined to her bed all this time, I thought a little walk would do her some good. Last I saw her, she was taking the path towards the North Crossing. She knew you two would be leaving soon, so she must have wanted to see you off.
Thanks, Kainari. All right, let's go!
Let's go.
Farewell, and good luck to you both.
New best friend. Here she is. Friend. And hugs. Oh, okay, not hugs. Enthusiastic
I've
waving.
been waiting for you two. Never mind. I guess I should just wish you two a safe and successful journey.
Whatever you had to say, you could say it. It's fine.
Thanks for waiting here just to see us off, Kale. We're headed to Sumeru City.
Please take care of yourself. We'll be back to see you soon.
Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. My condition won't be getting in the way of my duties. I want to be a forest ranger after all. It's up to me and the others to protect the rainforest here. And, I'm sorry. I should have told you both about my condition when we first met. I just wanted you two to treat me as a normal friend. Not some girl that needs your sympathy.
You're not required to tell anybody anything about your condition if you don't want to.
But I guess now I understand that the most important thing is for friends to be genuine with one another. There's no need to apologize, Kale. We should be thanking you for trusting us enough to be your friends and sharing your past with us.
Yes.
We're probably still gonna worry about your condition, but that's because we're friends and we care about you. Thank you. That means a lot. Before you leave, I have something for you. Oh? What is it? It's my recipe for pita pockets. I told you that
Cool.
I'd give you a copy, remember? My handwriting is a little, messy, so please don't laugh.
Never. However bad it is, my handwriting's probably worse. I have terrible handwriting.
Yay! Thanks, Kale. Now we can eat those scrumptious little pitas whenever and wherever we like. I hope that whenever you eat them, you'll both remember your time here in Gandharvaville.
Of course we will.
Well then, I, trainee Forest Ranger Kale, bid you both farewell. Please visit Gandharvaville again. The Rangers will always be ready to assist you here.
SP. Where is it at? Ah, here. Yeah, I should be going the right way. What's that then? What is that? It's not shiny. It's a different thing. What is it? Oh, there's a thing. Let's go. Let's go. Hi, friends. I'm here to ruin your day. Hey, friend. Again, seriously? Blah, 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 blah. Cool, I guess. Shinies are always a win. Speaking of shinies, I think there's one in this big tree. And we shall collect it. Ooh, wait. Okay. There's the shiny. No. Rude. Let's go over here. Yeah. Very cute little hut. Look around. What? Up we go. Shiny, want. Okay, here we are. So, I should probably grab that waypoint. First, I want treasure chest. Shinies. Hi, I'm here to ruin your... what exploded? What did I do? Why did I explode?
No escape!
And I'm on fire. That's not fun. I think I may have hit this thing.
A reward on the road.
Oops, it's so close to. We'll go talk to you in a minute. With this. What's this? Give. I've been abandoned. It's... Where am I going? Where am I going? No, that's not where I want. This is what I want. Trail of the Goddess. Yeah, just follow this road. Let's go see what is happening over here. This looks like this will at least be entertaining. Hello, friend. Huh? What's over there? Stay away, you nasty mushrooms. Hey, Serafina, that person over there seems to be in trouble. Indeed. Gotta help. Being attacked by mushrooms.
Cut to the chase. Duh.
I'm Seraphina. I'm from a very distant place. Yeah. There it is. Shouldn't have color, right? Mm-hmm. Does that mean if we ask first, we could pet the fluffy ears? I don't need you to keep me safe. I mean, if you insist on walking with us, I suppose, but I'm pretty sure we're going the other way anyway. Yeah, we're not going this way. We're supposed to go the other way. We'll follow her anyway. Maybe following her will get us more shinies. Oh no. Or worse. Yeah. You handled this with Tonari before. Oops. No need. We'll take care of this. Blah, blah, blah. I had this under control. You stay right here. Piss off. Where's the green thingy? We need green thingy. Come here, green thingy. More green thingy.
Propagate! Get him! Don't blink! Scatter!
Did you? I have no idea what I did to get it, but I have one. That's neat.
Propagate!
Piss off. We're special. Thank you. It's okay to just speak your mind. Uh-oh, typo. Calm down. Little buddies? Yeah. Sounds fun to cook with. It's like Grandma. Let's get the waypoint that's over here. Waypoint, waypoint. It's probably pull up this next. Here. Something happened here recently? I should get back to what I was doing. Now I'm stuck. Okay. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Really don't care. Actually, you could have made it on your own. Played very well. Oh, it's way more than just an anyway. I remembered nothing at all? Oh no, what are the Fatui doing here? Well, okay, we already know what they're doing here. They want the Gnosis. But why would they be out here? We have gotten very off track. Indeed I have. You have no idea. Sure, I guess I've got a lot of stories. Oh no. I mean, they can't be anywhere near the amount of trouble that Klee is, so this will probably be fine. You all want different stories. Ask them about how they went missing who wanted. Up to the kids. Maybe another time. I'd like to get us back on track to the story. Yeah, so we're just gonna cheat just a teensy bit. Okay, here we are. Back to plot.
Sumeru City! Ah, we finally made it!
Civilization!
Oh, did you see that? When those people entered the city, something on their heads lit up.
One moment,
Oh.
please, you two. It appears this is your first time visiting Sumeru City.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
yeah, that's right. But how did you know that?
Because we don't have the glowy thing.
Because there's currently no information on either of you in the Akasha. But no need to worry, that won't prevent you from entering the city. In fact, the Academia conveniently provides each traveler to Sumeru City with a device.
Oh, that must be the thing that Mr. Fluffy Ears gave us.
Perhaps you two have heard of the Akasha before. It's our beloved Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's lasting legacy, a treasure trove of collected knowledge.
Yeah, I'm really starting to think that the new Archon's going to have a bit of a complex over that Greater Lord, Lesser Lord thing.
After centuries of tireless research on the Akasha, the Academia created one of its most ingenious inventions, the Akasha Terminal. As long as you are within Sumeru's borders, you may use an Akasha terminal to connect directly to the Akasha and access any knowledge you need.
Yeah, but I feel like that's gonna come with some kind of price.
I should mention that due to technical limitations, the operation of Akasha terminals will be much smoother and more effective in large cities such as Sumeru City and Port Ormos.
Oh, so this is the thing that Tainari was telling us about. It sounds pretty amazing.
Okay.
You two are quite fortunate. Until recently, it was standard practice to only issue Akasha terminals to outlanders who spent an extended amount of time in Sumeru. However, this policy was recently changed, and now all travelers are issued one upon arrival. Here are your Akasha terminals. Please handle them with care.
Okay.
It kind of looks like a leaf.
Yeah, because we're in the plant. We're in the plant country.
To activate it, simply hold it in your hand and say the following phrase to yourself. May the mighty God bless us with their voice of wisdom.
Oh, since this little doodad lets you access knowledge, maybe we can use it to find a way to meet Lesser Lord Kusanali. Let's give it a try. May the mighty God bless us with their voice of wisdom.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Whoa. Just now, something clicked.
It's a VR
and Paimon
headset.
suddenly knew how to use this thing.
AR
Seems
headset.
all we need to
Probably
do
more
is
accurate.
concentrate on what we want to know. And bam! You get it. Oh, that'll come in real handy.
Oh boy.
Exactly. That is the power of the Akasha. And with that, let me officially welcome you both to Sumeru City. May the wisdom of the Dendro Archon always be your guide.
Also, just to sidebar in all of this, wisdom and knowledge are not the same thing. They're not. Granted, they can go together, but they are not the same thing.
Okay, now that we're in, we can check the Akasha about Lesser Lord Kusanali. Let Paimon try. 500 years ago, the sages found a newly born deity from within some scorched ruins. The deity now resides in the sanctuary of Suristana. Seems pretty similar to what Kale was telling us.
What is that in the distance? I mean, the cool building that's in a tree and all, but what is that in the distance? Looks like some kind of red cloud being funneled into some giant floating... I don't know. That's weird. That's weird looking. I want to go check that out.
Okay, next, let's concentrate on asking how to meet her. Huh? Paimon doesn't sense anything. The Akasha didn't respond to Paimon's question.
Of course it's not that easy. It's never going to be that easy. Same thing happened to me.
Oh, come on! Ugh. Focusing on this question feels like when you have something you're trying to remember and it's on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't think of it. Ugh. Paimon's brain is exhausted.
I'll try asking the Akasha something else. Maybe I'll interact and find some more information about Kusanali.
Oh, smart idea. But what are you going to ask it?
Think, why doesn't the Akasha answer my question? Think, Lesser Lord Kusanali. Think, Greater Lord Kavaka. Big thought suddenly comes to your mind. The Akasha doesn't unconditionally respond to every query. Also, even if the same query is requested by multiple people, the Akasha still imparts knowledge based on each person's identity, age, experiences, and other demographics. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's not limitless. There's restrictions depending on who you are or things. So we basically are gonna have to get permission from somebody, I would suspect.
Huh. Could it be because we're Outlanders and we've only just arrived in Sumeru? You know, maybe we're not qualified to receive an answer to this sort of question or
expect something along those lines are the case. I mean, they probably just don't let anybody who just walks through the front door go see their god. Not unless they either have some semblance of permission from somebody. So we're probably going to have to do certain people favors of some kind. Or do something exceptional. Does anybody have a really big monster that needs killing? Because that's what we're good at. Many bright dots of light appeared in my mind. I probably need to calm my mind and focus more on things of affection, intimacy, nostalgia, sadness, and anxiety also come to my mind. And you seem to be with the people of Samara fear about their departed Archon.
Paimon's getting all teary-eyed all of a sudden. It feels like the people of Sumeru really miss their Archon.
It's interesting to me that the people here seem to be more sad about this long-gone Archon than the people of Liyue were upset about the very sudden death of Rex Lapis, even though that was a far more recent loss. Like, for the most part, people were pretty chill about him being gone. Like, there was nobody who was like, oh no, I'm crying because Rex Lapis is dead. Like, for the most part, people were pretty okay with it. But, I mean, that's also part of the whole point of that whole situation. Think Lesser Lord Kusanali. Some knowledge began to trickle into my mind for a moment. There wasn't really anything that I didn't already know. Not surprising.
You too? Well, glad it's not just Paimon.
Yeah. I think we need to fulfill some level of requirements for that kind of stuff. But, you know, that's not surprising, and we can still operate with that.
Well, seems no matter which way we try, we can't find anything that'll lead us to Lesser Lord Kusanali. Guess our only choice now is to try meeting with the researcher that Tainari recommended.
Yeah.
He's from Sumeru, and even has a position in the Academia. Maybe he'll be able to access more info from the Akasha.
Probably.
Let's see. Tainari wrote an address on the letter's envelope.
Probably. Ooh, I have mail. I wonder if anything fun is in the mail. Mail. New recipes. Ooh. What are details? The Irish mushroom pizza. Ooh. Tea. Power 16.
Let's head over and have a look. Hopefully he's at home.
That's nice. Where's, I need stove. Where's stove? There's a stove. Keep walking. Ooh, instrument. What's on board? Waypoint. Got that. Very important. There's a restaurant. Shiny. Come here, shiny. Oh. Ooh. Okay. This is all. I just want to look at it. It's too bad. Here's the thing I just got. Probably this, right? Yeah. I need flour. Let's do 50. Can I buy anything from you? Nothing from you. For you? can't buy anything from either of you. That's boring. Oh, we see the glowing thing in our character model. That's neat. Ooh. Hello, friend. One moment, everybody. No thank you. Fine. Okay, cool. Apologies for that. Neat. Neat. Hello, Catherine. Hi, do you have shinies for me?
Just take my word for it. The sight of
Okay, you don't have anything yourself. That's interesting.
these parts are safe for sure.
Do you have anything fun to sell? What do you have? Chinese? Anything interesting that I can't get anywhere else? Chinese, but no, like recipes. Okay.
These parts are safe for sure.
Interesting. I think that's the first time I've seen comic on it.
Yeah, did all the cumbersome tasks again.
Hello, are you Rohawi?
Hello, friend.
Yes, that's me. Can I help you?
We're friends of Tainari.
You see, Tainari sent us here and...
What? Tainari?
Oh boy.
Please, there's no need to say anything, really. Sure, I admit that the article I published last month wasn't my best work, and maybe the data didn't produce the most convincing results, but...
We're not here to discuss
Here,
discuss
this is a letter from Tainari.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see. Ah! Ooh,
What a relief. You two nearly scared the life out of me. So you two just have some questions for me? Seems even Tainari acknowledges my innate ability for procuring information. So, what is it you two would like to know?
You need
We
to speak
want
to
to
your
meet
Archon.
with Lesser Lord Kusanali. Do you know a way we can do that?
You mean you want to meet the Dendro Archon herself? Ah, this isn't exactly my area of expertise, but let me see what I can find in the Akasha.
Probably a giant pile of nothing.
Sorry, the Akasha didn't respond to my query.
Which means we need somebody higher up the ladder.
What? You too? But what about your abilities for getting information and all that? Paimon was sure you'd be able to access more info than we did.
And there goes Lumi's expression of, I am, of being kind of done with this nonsense.
Well, as I said, this isn't my area of expertise. I am but a lowly researcher, so the Akasha doesn't see a need for me to know more about the Dendro Archon.
Okay, but do you know somebody who might be able to point us in a better
All
direction?
I know is that ever since Lesser Lord Kusanali returned to Sumeru, she's never left the Sanctuary of Surasthana or made a public appearance.
Oh boy. Is that by her choice or the choice of the sages?
Huh. Didn't expect her to be such a mysterious figure.
The Dendro Archon is somewhat of a recluse. Perhaps she just doesn't want to entertain visitors, which would explain the lack of information in the Akasha.
Aw, but
Or she doesn't allow
what can we
visitors.
do?
No need to worry just yet. I'm only hypothesizing here. You could certainly try asking around and see if anyone else has ideas. And besides, you two should consider the bright side of things. Not being able to see Lesser Lord Kusanali may not be a bad thing. In this world, there will always be information you cannot obtain from the Akasha, and things you can never accomplish. Knowing when to yield is a form of wisdom. Take me, for example. It's a miracle if my brain cells can spit out one paper every 3 years. But Tainari? That guy can publish 3 papers in just a single year.
It's fine. You're fine.
Okay. Thanks for your advice.
Don't mention it. If you two ever want information about things like who's been promoted within the academia or relations between the 6 great sages, come find me.
So by area of expertise, I mean this kind of stuff.
Hey, come on. This is a survival skill at the academia.
Oh, Paimon's expectations were pretty low, but this is so low, it's like digging holes in the dirt. So what do we do now? Even if we want to talk to someone, we don't know anybody here.
No, there's still one other person we know.
Huh? Like who?
Ad Astra Abyssosque.
Oh, you're right! Catherine! The Adventurers Guild has its own intel network. Let's hurry and find her.
Yeah. Okay, let's go see what Catherine is up to. Very mysterious figure, that one. Very excited to see if we'll ever learn more about her.
Ad Astra Abyssosque. Hello, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah.
Catherine, we need your help with something.
Desperately need your help.
Understood. The Adventurers Guild is always ready to serve you. With what do you require assistance?
We want to meet with Lesser Lord Kusanali. Do you know a way we can do that?
You two wish to meet with Sumeru's Archon. Understood. Please wait.
Does Catherine look different, or am I crazy?
I apologize, but I am unable to call up any relevant information in the Akasha. I'm also unable to locate any pertinent information in my personal memory.
Am I crazy, or is she both look a little bit different and acting a little bit different?
Please do not worry. I may know of someone who can help you two. In Sumeru, the Adventurers Guild does not serve as the vanguard of information. Rather, there are numerous active mercenary groups collectively known as the Eremites. They take on various contracts and work all across Sumeru, so they naturally accrue intelligence.
I think we're going to travel right back around to the who needs a giant monster slain, and can they help us?
An Eremite brigade called the Corps of 30 is in charge of Sumeru City's defenses. Not only are they the oldest brigade, but they are responsible for managing and coordinating the affairs of all other mercenary brigades.
Really big monster that needs slain.
Corps of 30? What a weird name.
Supposedly, they are named as such because their ranks numbered 30 at their inception. Asphalt, an advisor with the Corps of 30, maintains good relations with the Adventurers Guild. Though he's already retired, he and his words carry great weight within mercenary circles. If you'd like to get in contact with him, you can find him at the Corps of 30's headquarters, the Citadel of Rexar.
Thanks a bunch,
You're welcome.
Catherine.
I wish you two the best of luck. We look forward to your exploits in Sumeru.
Alright, off to the Citadel of Rexar we go!
There we go. This way.
Welcome. The Adventurers Guild told me to expect you two.
Good. Saves us some
It's nice
time.
to meet you, Asfand. We'd like to ask you about something.
Yes. Look, I want a very simple thing.
I
And
see.
I'm going
So,
to-
Catherine's the one who sent you this way.
Here. We want one very simple thing, and we are willing to do all manners of things to help in exchange.
Ha! It's true that the Eremites' network is vast, but even I can't help you meet the Dendro Archon.
Of course not. It's never that easy.
Wait, seriously? That's it?
Afraid so. The Eremites aren't terribly religious, so we don't know much about divinities. As far as the Akasha goes, we can access even less than you. We
Wonderful.
originally came from the desert. The gods there died off long ago. Since those days, we've used our own two hands to carve out a living. We don't beg gods for their aid. It isn't just us, though. If you ask me, I think most in Sumeru aren't interested in Lesser Lord Kusanali.
There it is.
Oh? Why's that?
Probably because they consider her lesser to the previous Archon. And so they're focused on everything that the previous Archon left behind.
Just take the Academia, for example. They're the ones who truly rule Sumeru. Although they believe in gods, most of them only care for the late Greater Lord Rugurdevada.
There it is.
In their
the
eyes,
impression I was
she
getting.
was the one who founded Sumeru and gifted us with the Akasha. Lesser Lord Kusanali just happened to inherit her legacy. Because of the Academia's influence, most citizens are more familiar with Greater Lord Rukadevada and hold her in greater esteem.
That's sad.
Not to mention that Lesser Lord Kusanali never makes an appearance, and the Academia never announces anything about her. As far as the people of Sumeru are concerned, she's just a god that exists. And that's all.
That's sad.
Really? Aw. After hearing all of that, Paimon sort of feels bad for Lesser Lord Kusanali.
Ha! But who knows? We're all just guessing when it comes down to it. Besides, I'm sure the God of Wisdom
doesn't worry about her reputation among people like us.
Vexed it out.
Alright, well, thanks for the info, Osfond.
No problem. Always happy to help out the Adventurers Guild.
I don't know if you've helped out. So, we questioned several people in Sumeru City, and all of them gave us nothing.
Seems Osfond was right about most people's attitudes here.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are they not interested in the Dendro Archon, they even say stuff like, if the Akasha doesn't think I should know, then I don't need to know about it.
Yeah, that's concerning.
We've been asking for information non-stop ever since we got to Sumeru. But the harder we try, the more helpless everything seems. Isn't there at least one person in this entire city who cares about Lesser Lord Kusanali?
Oh, you two are interested in Lesser Lord Kusanali?
Oh hey, 5 months big mouth is finally coming handy.
Huh? Who are you?
From the sound of it, you two are Outlanders who recently arrived here. You've been asking around for information on Lesser Lord Kusanali, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Dunyarzad, one of Lesser Lord Kusanali's faithful followers.
Please help us.
Oh, really? Then do you know how we can meet with her?
I'm afraid I can't help you with that. But your conversation earlier did happen to remind me of a legend about the Dendro Archon.
Sort of legend.
Sure. It goes like this. Long, long ago, there was a man who heard a prophecy. It predicted that a great calamity was about to befall him. Panicked by what he heard, the man sought out the Dendro Archon in hopes that she would bless him with the wisdom to help him escape his predicament. The man journeyed across deserts and through rainforests and experienced tribulations of every kind. However, he still couldn't find any trace of the Dendro Archon. In despair, he thought, alas, the Archon has abandoned me. He then had no choice but to sorrowfully resign to his fate.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then, the calamity came. But to his own surprise, the man felt somehow emboldened by the trials of his journey. By relying on his own strength, he managed to overcome the adversity. At that moment, a bird perched upon his shoulder. This bird was, in fact, an avatar of the Dendro Archon. She said, "O Archon Seeker, do you now understand? She and her wisdom have long been found by you. Along your journey, we were in every flower and blade of grass, every ray of sparkling sun, and every breath of dancing wind. So long as you continue to think and ponder, we'll be wherever you go."
Amazing story.
Yeah, thanks for the story! Paimon feels all warm and fuzzy inside after that.
In a way, it seems like this story is also one of the Dendro Archon's avatars.
Dunyarzad, since you worship Lesser Lord Kusanali, can you tell us anything else about her?
Of course. So did you two know that,
Oh boy.
I'm terribly sorry, but it seems something's come up now. Let's chat another day.
Hey, no, come back. Friend.
Hey,
Yeah.
wait!
I think
What the heck just happened?
I think the academy or academia or whatever we're gonna call them are purposely lessening their Archon's influence, or at least the current living Archon's influence. I think it has something to do with those people over there.
It looks like they're searching for someone. Dunyarzad was acting super nervous just now. You think they're looking for her? Ugh, this stinks! We finally managed to find a lead about Lesser Lord Kusanali! We can't let them get in the way now! Let's see if we can get rid of them. Then we can catch up with Dunyarzad.
Hey,
Yeah.
have you two seen a brown-haired girl wearing a purple top and a long blue dress? We're looking for her.
She went the opposite direction.
Did she have bandages wrapped around her wrists?
Yes, that's her. Did you see which direction she went?
Yeah, she went that way.
Quick, after her!
We're gonna go after them, I think. Or at least we should. Just in case.
That should keep him busy for a while. Let's hurry and find Dunyarzad.
I think there's a conspiracy here and we may need to intervene with it. Friend, we want to help.
There you are, Dunyarzad. We thought you might have been long gone by now.
Oh, it's you two. Oh, you startled me there.
You can relax now. We threw those people looking for you off the trail.
Really? Thank you so much. Unfortunately, I believe there's still more of them out there looking for me. Uh-oh, looks like there's some coming this way.
Huh? More of them? Then what are we standing here for? Run!
No, wait, my body isn't in the best shape. It's difficult for me to run.
Then how about we find someplace to hide?
Okay, sounds good. There's a tavern on the other side of the port we can go to. They probably wouldn't expect me to hide in a place like that.
All right, let's move out. Stay behind us. We'll keep an eye out for anyone looking for you.
Okay, but if she is in fact doing something that the people who made the little devices that we're all currently attached to don't like, what's stopping it from telling everybody who asks her location? I mean, that seems like a fairly obvious feature. And probably would also explain why they give up to literally everybody, even people with question whose intent they don't even know. Can we go in here? This place seems nice.
We made it. Oh, they shouldn't be able to find us now. Wait, stand down, Dia.
Ooh, hello. Who are you?
My lady, who are these two?
They're travelers that I met on the street just a moment ago. They happened to notice that you were all searching for me, so they helped me hide.
I see. In that case, you two should scram. There's nothing here for you.
Wait a sec! Who the heck are you? And why are you shooing us away?
I'm Miss Dunyarzad's bodyguard, here to see that she returns home safe and sound.
Oh, she's somebody important. Okay. She's not in trouble. She's just somebody important who is not where she should be.
My lady, let's get going. You've been gone for so long that your parents are worrying themselves sick.
And if I refuse to go with you?
It'd be easier for the both of us if you cooperated. But if you insist on not going, then I'll have to carry you like a sack of potatoes.
That seems like that could be fun.
Dunyarzad already said she doesn't want to go back. Why are you still pushing her?
Because she has a job to do.
Stay out of this. You don't understand the situation. Sorry, my lady. Even though I'm your bodyguard, your parents are my employers. I have to answer to them.
How much?
Wait, what?
How much more do I have to pay you to become your employer? So you never listen to my parents ever again. Double? A triple? Give me some time and I'll get that much.
My lady, this isn't about Mora.
Oh, she has principles.
I don't know what you think of us Eremites, but let me say this. I like Mora, but I'll never go against my principles. That's why I'm here looking for you.
Sure, it's an order from my employer, but my conscience was also telling me it's the right thing to do. And knowing your health, carelessly running around like this is gonna hurt you. For the sake of those who love you, don't be stubborn.
Aw, that's so sweet.
No, you're wrong. I'm aware of my limits, and I know what I'm doing. Honestly, the only people being stubborn right now are my parents. And they know perfectly well that it makes no difference if I'm at home or not. They still won't accept reality. And every time I bring this up, they just change the subject. Dia, you've been living with us a long time already. This should be old news to you. Dia, I know it hasn't been easy for Mother and Father, and I'm grateful for everything they've done for me. But there's someone else in this world I'm also grateful to. Because she saved me. The love I have for her is the same I have for my parents. This is my life and my last chance. So I want to do something meaningful.
This is sweet.
My lady, are you sure what you're doing now is meaningful?
Yes, I'm sure. At least, it is to me.
Fine. I won't ask you to return home anymore.
Cool.
But let me make something very clear. I'm only doing this because I respect your determination, not because I agree with you.
Thank you, Dia. Sorry for being so rude just now. My nerves were acting up. And I even brought up your payment in such an offensive way.
Don't worry about it, my lady. I did say that I like Mora. Besides, that's our next topic of conversation. Today's little excursion caused such a ruckus that every single bodyguard at the estate was deployed. It wouldn't be easy to hide things from your old man. Since this definitely won't be your last escapade, here's a little tip. You should at least make it look like your room and things are still in order when you leave. Also, you'll need someone to cover you for when you're out and about.
Hey, if you're not gonna do what you're supposed to do, at least break the rules in a smart way.
I'll let you hire me, my lady. This way, everyone wins. As for the pay, let's say half of what your father pays me. We can settle the bill when we return to the estate.
Okay, deal.
Yay! Looks like they've reached an understanding.
Yay! I have always approved of talking things out. Are you okay, friend?
I'm fine, really. I just feel a little tired now that things have calmed down.
Well, we are in a tavern. Why don't we all get a table and just kind of chill out?
My lady, stop trying to look tough. We're already in a tavern, so let's rest up and grab some grub.
Yes.
I'm sorry for worrying you two. If you don't mind, I'd like for you to join us.
I mean, if
Sure.
you're offering.
After you rest up, we want to hear more about Lesser Lord Kusanali.
Literally anything you have to tell us will be helpful, so... might as well.
Well, your perspective is just
Okay.
Ha! Well, if it isn't Dia. Haven't seen you in nearly half a year. Word on the street is that you're a bodyguard for the Homayani family now. Ha! Don't you find that kind of work boring?
So that must be the last name of the lady in the purple dress.
Nah, you get used to it. How about a menu over here?
You got it. Huh? Isn't this little Miss Homayani herself? We don't get to serve personages like you very often. We'll be sure to prepare our very best.
Thank you, sir, but there's no need. I don't have a lot of Mora on me, and I really ought to save as much as I can. But please bring these two the best food you have. They're my new friends, so I want to be a good host for them.
Aww. Don't worry about it. We'll pay for our own food.
Wait, we're paying for ourselves now? Aw, Paimon kinda wanted to try something fancy, but we aren't exactly loaded. Guess Paimon will settle for something ordinary.
How about our coconut charcoal cakes? They're our signature snack, and they run cheap. Look, other customers over there are eating some now.
Poison. Yay. Pure poison. To explain for anyone who might be new that is watching, I'm terribly allergic to coconut, so if they are what they sound like they are, if I tried one, I would die.
They look kind of burnt and dry. Paimon will pass.
Picky Paimon, now that's a first. But you've cooked slimes before.
Huh. What do you have against my slime dishes?
Everything.
Dunyarzad, we asked a lot of people when we first arrived, and almost nobody was interested in Lesser Lord Kusanali. So, what made you want to follow her?
Well, remember when you asked me if I knew how to meet the Dendro Archon? Even though I don't know how, I think I've actually seen her before.
Ooh, tell us everything.
Really?
Yes, it was when I was a child. At the time, my illness had kept me bedridden for the better part of a year. I was stuck inside and couldn't make any friends, and my parents did their best to find treatments for me. But even then, the Akasha didn't have any helpful information. My younger self no longer had any hopes or dreams. One flare-up was so bad that I was in a semi-conscious state for several days. Then one night, I woke up alone in my room. I was terrified. My body was paralyzed. Even if I cried, there was no sound. At that moment, an ethereal voice spoke in my mind. Dunyarzad, don't be scared. You don't have to cry.
Dunyarzad, don't be scared. You don't have to cry.
Aww. She's so adorable.
Who are you? How do you know my name? How do I explain this? You might not be able to understand, but actually, I know everything about you. Really? Of course. I know that you're scared of thunder, that you hate taking medicine every morning, and that you love counting the petals on your mom's skirt.
That's cute.
Wow, you really do know everything. Dunyarzad, is there anything you want? Want? Not really. I can't go anywhere or do anything. Huh? But aren't you a child? All children have wishes. Tell me what you want, and maybe I can make it happen. But can you make my illness go away? Oh. I'm sorry. But I'm not powerful enough to do that right now. Then, can you be my friend?
After that, the voice said, "Okay, I'll be your friend." Although my body was suffering during those days, that voice encouraged me and told me many wondrous things. Beyond my window was the flourishing Sumeru city. Beyond the city was a lush rainforest. And beyond that was the wall of Samiel, deserts, and all of Teyvat. Once I finally made it through that bout of illness, I couldn't hear that voice anymore. I told my mother about it, but she said that I must have been dreaming. But I know that that voice wasn't a figment of my imagination. Before that, I had never heard of Teyvat.
So you believe that voice you heard was Lesser Lord Kusanali?
Yes, for sure. If it weren't for that voice, I would have never grown curious about the outside world, nor would I have learned how to read and enjoy so many books. That voice sparked a desire for wisdom. It had to have been the Dendro Archon. I've been hoping for a chance to repay her kindness. In fact, I was running around today to help prepare the Sub-Zerus festival for her.
What's the Sub-Zerus festival?
Something we should probably take part in.
It's Lesser Lord Kusanali's birthday, which was the day that she was found by the sages. It's actually an old holiday that originally celebrated Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's birthday. When she passed away, the holiday eventually became a celebration of the Lesser Lord's birthday. I heard everyone was overjoyed when they welcomed her back to Sumeru. In those days, the festival was a huge deal. But because of the Academia's influence, people have gradually lost interest in the festival.
Well, we should do it anyway.
The Academia actively participates in Sumeru's many holidays dedicated to Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. But when it comes to the Sub-Zero's festival, forget any funding. They practically act like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Maybe they see Lesser Lord Kusanali's birth as confirmation of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's death, so they're reluctant to celebrate it.
Aww, but that's awful.
It is awful.
It is. It's absolutely terrible. Sure, the Greater Lord founded Sumeru, but hasn't Lesser Lord Kusanali been the one quietly protecting us for the past few hundred years?
Just remember that we're still out in public. Don't get too carried away now.
I know that people over by the Grand Bazaar still hold the Sub-Zero's festival to this day. But I hadn't met any of them before, so I was never able to contribute. But recently, I made a friend there who also follows Lesser Lord Kusanali. I gave her my savings because I want her to throw a wonderful festival this year. That's the least I could do for Lesser Lord Kusanali.
Hold on, my lady. Does this friend happen to be Nilu, the one who sends flowers to the estate?
Yes, that's her.
I saw her leaving the other day with a nervous look on her face. It seemed like she was hiding something in her arms. Did you give her something?
Yes. Initially, I didn't have much Mora prepared, so I had Nilu sell one of my skirts. I've agreed with Nilu to meet up at the Grand Bazaar today, and see how things are coming along. Dia, would you accompany me?
Sure. That's quite the trip, though. I'll carry you.
No, that would be too much, even for you.
You might as well just accept the lift. If I let you walk, who knows how long it'll take us. And if anything happens to you, then I'd really never hear the end of it from your father.
Can he also come along?
But of course. Nilu will be thrilled to hear there are more people interested in Lesser Lord Kusanali.
He's the closest thing to a lead we have. You know, who's that? Can I see the menu? Recipes. Ingredients. I want all of them. Probably want this too. Cool. If you'll excuse me, I have to step away for a quick moment. I will be right back. turn. This way. You gonna sell anything? Okay, I can't. Thanks. What about you? Yes. This looks interesting. Yes, I like this. Ooh, hello. Planning.
Every item I sell here comes with its own.
Let's see it. Anything else? I mean, if I need the artifact XP for the thing, I should probably jump on that. Yes. For the enhance. A little bit of improvement, but not much.
Every item I sell.
Sorry I'm late, Milu.
Oh, Dunyarzad. It was taking you so long that I assumed you got trapped at home. But you made it in the end. Uh-oh. But if Dia's here, that means you got caught, right?
You could say that, but everything worked out. She's on our side now.
Your friend has an interesting design.
Not completely.
Oh. And who are these two?
You're friendly.
Meet the Traveler and Paimon, my two newest friends. They're visitors who just arrived at Sumeru City and are looking for information on Lesser Lord Kusanali.
So you're followers from another land?
Yeah, no. But we do want to meet with her for reasons. I'm gonna go with no, because I don't want to lie to new friends. I want to be open and honest about what our intentions are so that there's not like an issue later.
Oh, really? Well, that's okay. You're still invited to the Sabzerus festival. By the way, Dunyarzad, we've already started decorating the Grand Bazaar. It looks spectacular, thanks to your generous contribution.
You're very welcome. It's the only thing I could do. Do you still have enough Mora?
Probably? But don't sweat it. We've already finished renovating the stage. Come on, I'll show you.
Also, I'm looking for a vision. Just Because that's how you know if a character's going to be important, is if they have a vision or not.
Wow! This place is amazing!
And yeah,
Not bad. The last time I was here, the stairs were full of holes.
The stairs were nothing. A little while ago, we discovered that the tree above the stage had a huge chunk of bark ready to fall off. Mr. Zubair was worried sick. We reported it to the academia many times, but they never sent anyone to deal with it. We didn't want anything bad happening, so we were going to cancel all the stage performances.
Why didn't anyone come to handle
Oh, probably because it was the theater asking.
The academia looks down on performers like us. They probably think it would be best if the theater closed down completely.
That's dumb.
We can't let that happen, though. Not only would everyone involved in the theater go hungry, but then we wouldn't be able to hold the Sub-Zero's festival anymore.
That's probably their actual motivation, is that last point.
Thank the Dendro Archon for Dunyarzad. But the more she gave us, we hired someone to patch up the tree, and we also gave the stage a much-needed makeover. The stage is going to be even prettier when it's festival time. I can't wait for you to see it.
And I can't wait to see you on the stage. You've been practicing so long already. It's almost time for your dream to become reality.
It's our dream. I'll do my best for the two of us.
That's sweet.
Milu, what are you gonna be doing at the festival?
Do you not see how she's dressed? Clearly she's a dancer of some kind.
She'll be dancing the dance of Sub-Zeros, the most important performance at the Sub-Zeros festival.
Dunyarzad, have you told them the origin of this holiday?
Yes, she has.
I only told them about the Greater Lord and Lesser Lord so far.
Okay, then I'll tell you two about how this holiday came to be. According to legend, the Sub-Zeros festival was originally the Goddess of Flowers' birthday celebration for the Greater Lord. A long, long time ago, on one of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's birthdays, her friends threw her a celebratory banquet. Some of the gods got drunk. One started playing music, and the Greater Lord started singing, so the Goddess of Flowers began to dance. As she danced upon the grass, countless beautiful parisaras began to bloom wherever she stepped. Those brilliant purple flowers became her dazzling stage. All the gods clamored, "Oh, if only time could stop at this very moment."
Sounds like they had a great time.
Of course they did. When people mention the gods, they always think of the Archon War. But Sumeru's gods also had happy times. Although they aren't around anymore, they're preserved in our tradition of dance. This outfit I'm wearing is apparently based on how the Goddess of Flowers looked. Though we're just tiny people compared to the Divine, we still have to do our best to make sure that the birthday girl feels loved on her special day.
Yeah.
Nilu, you of all people will definitely be able to convey our well wishes to the Dendro Archon. I also noticed that you went the extra mile and scattered parisaras around the stage.
They symbolize the Goddess of Flowers, after all. It's just a shame that all the real parisaras went extinct after her death.
Yeah. The Greater Lord brought forth parisaras in memory of the Goddess of Flowers, but she ultimately could never truly replicate that beautiful purple.
Thinking about the Goddess of Flowers dance makes me wish I could have seen it. If my stage were anything like that, I'd be thrilled if I had just 2 real parisaras on the stage. So, Traveler and Paimon, what do you think? Interested in the Sub-Zeros festival? Will you two be coming?
I mean, it's not like we have anything better to do.
All of Lesser Lord Kusanali's followers will be there for her birthday. It'll be a good opportunity for you to learn more about her.
Yeah, I mean, this is the closest thing to a lead we have right now, so, I mean...
Ooh, Paimon thinks that's a great idea!
Yeah. You're sure it's not because you want to have the fun? Pardon me. You sure it's not just because you want to watch Nilo dance?
Hey, come on! There's nothing wrong with enjoying a festival. Besides, it's Lesser Lord Kusanali's birthday. She'll be happy to have more people who are celebrating it.
Yeah, considering it seems like a vast majority of our country doesn't care. It's just sad. Like, that's genuinely sad.
So how about we all attend the Sub-Zero's festival together?
Sounds like a plan. Boy, I hope nothing bad happens at this festival and we all end up arrested. Because I get the feeling that that's a possible outcome of all of this, especially for doing something that the academia does not like. So it's wholly possible that they'll do, you know, anything to make the festival not happen.
Dunyarzad, let me show you which stage decorations we've picked out so far. Traveler in Paimon, if that doesn't sound interesting to you, then feel free to explore the area. Okay. Everyone at the Grand Bazaar loves Lesser Lord Kusanali, and we're all looking forward to the Sabzeruz festival.
In that case, we'll take a look around.
Okay, let's talk to everybody now. Hello, friend.
Things are really shaping up, and there's a buzz around the festival this year. We're expecting people from all over to come by this year and buy things during the festivities. Don't be fooled into thinking that Sumeru City has the best of everything. Some festival snacks are only offered here in the Grand Bazaar. And when it comes to musicians, dancers, or singers, the Grand Bazaar's got the best of the best. Sure, those folks at the Academia might not like it, but what's a festival without song and dance?
I think knowledge and wisdom and the arts absolutely go hand in hand. I don't think that separating out like this is... I'm pretty sure it's the academia vying for more control of some kind. I wonder if all of this is also why Tidari is just like, nah, I ain't getting involved. I also wonder if all of this, like, them misbehaving like this is also part of what's making the magical tree sick.
Ah, dancing at the Sub-Zero's festival. You know, I also danced when I was younger. As a child, I even asked my grandmother why we performed the dance for the Lesser Lord when it was originally done to honor the Greater Lord. My grandmother said that Greater Lord Rukkhadevata is a beloved deity and honored by all, and Lesser Lord Kusanali is too. If the goddess of flowers ever knew Lesser Lord Kusanali, then she would certainly have wished to be her friend and hold celebrations for her too.
That's such a sweet sentiment.
The Sub-Zero's festival has been losing its appeal over the years. That is, until a wealthy benefactor stepped in this year and brought the festival back to life. I heard she forked out a lot of mora to make it all happen.
That's sweet. Puppy. Wish I could pick a puppy. Woof. Very nice. Ruff, ruff. Pet. I really wish there was a pet dog button.
Whoa! What's with your yellow hair? And why do your clothes look so funny? Are you an Outlander?
Yes.
Did you know that the Sabzeruz festival is about to happen? There'll be loads of fun things to do at the festival. But the best part is when Ferris, the Knight of Flowers, passes out candy to everyone.
Aww. That's sweet. Knight of Flowers, huh? That's interesting. What do you think of all this?
Huh. Revamping the stage for the festival couldn't have been easy, that's for sure. I bet this year's festival will be one to remember. I don't know much about the Grand Bazaar, but I do know that the residents here have a penchant for song and dance. Two things that the Academia doesn't particularly approve of.
Yeah, well, they can go
and the
buzz
perfume
off.
sold around here is a lot better than what you'll find elsewhere. The fragrances are longer lasting and they're gentler on your skin and...
Hey, if that's what you're into, go for it.
I mean, that's what I've heard at least.
Look at me. I literally have flowers in my hair. You think I'm gonna judge? Do I look like the type of person who would judge someone for something like that? I'm a little bit worried that something bad's gonna happen. Like, we're gonna come here the next morning and this is all gonna be trashed or something. Because I don't trust the folks at the academia. Like, I don't trust them. Because, I mean... Okay. It's pretty simple. If they were people who were doing something useful or important or something, then Tighnari would be helping them. But the fact that his response is to be like, nah, y'all can go piss off, tells me that there's something about them that is not to be trusted. Like, because I'm sure Tighnari knows that fighting off the withering just as it sprouts is only going to get you so far. So if he thought that they were working on an actual solution to permanently solve it, he would probably be helping them. So either whatever they're doing or trying, either he already knows isn't going to work, or perhaps he thinks that whatever they're doing is going to make it worse. Which is totally plausible, I suppose.
Nilu, your outfit looks amazing. There's also something different about you from when we first met up.
I thought I'd add a little extra pizzazz to my dress for the festival. See?
Wow, did you sew all that yourself?
Uh-huh. Sewing is a fundamental skill for everyone in the theater company because we make all our own costumes. Did you know that Mr. Zubair not only can make costumes, but props too?
That actually makes a lot of sense to me, for the theater troupe to make their own costumes, or at least have the skills to make and repair their own costumes. Especially if what they're doing isn't all that popular outside of their own circle. Because being able to make something that both is functional and looks nice is not going to be... like, they're the only ones who know what the specific requirements for their costumes are going to be, right? Like, so they're probably the experts on what they need and what to use to make that happen. And how far things need to go to operate properly.
I've noticed that you can't keep your eyes off that crown over there. Would you like to try it on?
May I?
Of course. The legends say that the goddess of flowers had beautiful horns on her head, so this crown was made to reflect that. Dunyarzad, you look absolutely stunning with it on. It's like I'm looking at the goddess of flowers herself.
Hey! Is that who Paimon thinks it is? It looks like Catherine.
What's she doing here? Hello, Catherine. We don't usually see you from anywhere else. You're behaving strangely.
Huh. Come to think of it, Paimon's only ever seen her behind the counter at the Adventurers Guild. This is the first time we've ever seen her taking a break.
Oh no. I really hope that this isn't like a flag being raised that something either bad, really bad is going to happen to or with Catherine.
Hey, Catherine!
Hi, friend!
Huh? Oh, hey! It's the Traveler and Paimon! What's shaken?
Whoa. Break time Catherine sure sounds a lot less formal than usual. Paimon was still waiting for her to say Ad Astra Abyssosque.
Sure. Standing behind the counter at the Adventurers Guild doesn't require any complicated functions.
Interesting wording. Interesting wording there. Like, that's odd. That's odd to me.
But saying and doing the same old things over and over again can get pretty monotonous. Like watching the same Fontaine movie day after day.
One of these countries has movies? Why is this the first we've heard of this? We really need to get to Fontaine at some point. Like, I hope that's the next country.
But take you two, for example. You travel across Tevat to enrich your lives and gain new experiences.
That is not our goal. That is a side effect. That is a consequence of the choices we have made. That is not our goal, though. Our goal is to find Brother, or talk sense into him or something. But no, he's like, no, I'm not going to come home. I'm busy running the abyss and getting people killed.
Well, we enjoy traveling across Tibet and all that, but we're mainly looking for clues about her brother.
Yeah.
Yes, you should keep searching. Sometimes the answers we're looking for aren't necessarily at our intended destination. Instead, they're found along the way.
Speaking of, how are you here? Like, how are you always everywhere? That's my question. Like, is there just like an army of Catherines? Or is it like a title, like everyone who stands behind the counter is Catherine?
Huh. Haven't we heard someone say something pretty similar recently? Anyways, what brings you out here, Catherine?
I have no idea what Paimon is referring to. Are you also a fan of this festival?
No, not particularly. I guess you could say that I'm loving the recent atmosphere here. If festivals bring happiness to everyone, then that's where their true value lies. Oh, it looks like it's about time for me to be heading back now.
Alright, we'll see you next time at the Adventures Guild. Oh, by the way, thanks for connecting us with the Eremites. We've already made some great friends in Sumeru City thanks to you.
I'm sure you two will get along well with the people here. You've already been blessed by the element of Dendro after all. See you around.
How does she know that? How does she know that? I don't think we told her that. How do you know about that? I mean, yeah, my dress is green, but like, how do you know that? How do you know that how do you know that? Did we tell her about that? I don't think we've told her about that. I mean, I know that she probably has information or whatever, but how do you know that? Who told you? Who has seen us use Dendro Element that also talks to the Adventurers Guild? Because there can't be that many people. The only people who've seen us fight so far are some random forest rangers. And we didn't see any adventurers on the way here. How do you know that? Are you spying on us, Catherine? What aren't you telling us? That's suspicious. I don't trust that, Catherine.
There's something really different about Catherine.
Okay, I'm not crazy. It's intentional.
Hey,
Got
traveler. Paimon.
Hello, friend.
Oh, hey, Dia. What's going on?
I've got something to tell ya. My lady knows you're looking for ways to meet Lesser Lord Kusanali, and she's been trying to come up with a way to help you. Well, I have an idea that might help.
Oh, no.
Are you serious? We'd love that.
Were you about to become wanted people in a third country in a row? I hope so. Oh, I hope so.
It might not necessarily pan out, so don't get your hopes up too much. I'll need to take you two somewhere and ask someone some questions.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. What about person?
My lady is feeling a little worn out at the moment. Nilu's found a place for her to rest. After I take my lady home, let's meet in front of the Citadel of Rexar.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I firmly believe.
Citadel of Rexar and wait for Dia.
I fully believe that if somebody is unwell and is going to sneak out anyway, having her be at least accompanied by someone who knows, like, their limits or that there's something wrong with them, that accompanying them is the better option. I know some people may not agree with that statement, but that's my belief on this particular topic. Anyway, let's go meet with friend.
Sorry, I'm late. Took some convincing for the master and mistress to believe that Miss Dunyarzad was only sitting in the port for a while because she was in a bad mood. Anyway, I guess I should be thanking you. I haven't seen Miss Dunyarzad that happy in a long time. If it wasn't for you two, she probably would have been caught and dragged back much earlier.
You know, sure.
You sure sound a whole lot nicer than when we first met, Dia. Who would have thought you had such a soft spot for Dunyarzad?
I'm pretty sure she only went after us because she thought we were suspicious people next to the person she's being paid to protect. And when she was like, oh, you don't intend her harm, then I guess we can be cool.
It's called being a professional. I'm a bodyguard, and I work for whoever's paying.
Yeah, but you have a pyrovision. If you're anything like the other people with pyrovisions, there's probably a strong sense of loyalty in you. At least that's what I've noticed about people with pyrovisions, is that they get attached to people and they stay attached to people.
Look, Dia's blushing.
Yep, that's the blush if I've ever seen one.
Listen, you two. I don't expect to be working for Miss Dunyarzad very long, but I hope to finish things on a positive note if possible. Let's cut the chit-chat and head into the Citadel. We'll see if the person I know has a way for you two to meet with the Lesser Lord.
Cool. I greatly appreciate the fact that you're actually helping us. This is so much more straightforward than the other two options have been, and the other 3 places have been.
Oh, hey, Chief.
Ah, Dia, what are you doing here? And well, didn't expect to see you 3 together.
I take it you all know each other already?
We're friends.
We met this morning after the Adventurers Guild pointed us to Osfon for more info.
Yeah.
No kidding. Huh. So, where's Ruksha? I thought I'd help these two out by asking about the theft. Anything you can tell him?
Rukshaw's gone over to the Academia. The Grand Sage recently ordered Sumeru City to begin bolstering its defenses. So people from all over have been called back to the city.
Bolstering its defenses for what? What are you expecting to happen that you need bolstered defenses for? And how can we help? Because we are very good with a sword.
Since you've already mentioned the theft, I suppose I might as well tell them what we know.
Appreciate it, Chief.
Theft? Sorry, what the heck are you guys talking about?
Please catch us
Just
up.
recently, the Academia lost something, and there's a chance the item is connected with the Dendro Archon. This case might just somehow help you in meeting her.
I mean, if we were
I suppose that's one way to look at it. But if you ask me, the case is more about the Academia than anything else.
Probably. I mean, if something of hers was taken and we help her get it back, I mean, that would be one way to earn a meeting, I suppose. But I get the feeling that it may not be that simple.
Let me fill you in. The Academia recently sent a convoy to pick up an important package from Aru village. Word got out, and the convoy was robbed on its way back. The Grand Sage took the whole matter very seriously. Not only did he dispatch the Matra, but also enlisted our help in the search for leads. All we know so far is that whatever was stolen is currently in Port Ormos.
So I suspect that will be our next destination.
You two have heard of Port Ormos, haven't you? It's the largest commercial port in all of Sumeru. You can travel there by leaving Sumeru City and heading south along the river.
That's
The Academia's grip isn't long enough to reach all the way to Port Ormos, so the city's a little more laid back, meaning the population's also a mixed bag. You never know who you'll meet there.
I wonder if we'll meet more people who know things about the Archive.
Apparently what was lost has a great deal to do with the Akasha, knowledge, and even the gods. I'm afraid I don't have any other details for you, though.
Now, is this going to be an item or a person?
If you're interested, maybe you could head to Port Ormos and ask around yourselves. If you want my advice, try introducing yourselves as students of the Academia once you're there.
What? Students? Why should we do that?
Are you serious, Chief? All the Academia students are in Sumeru City, you know. Why should they pretend to be students in Port Ormos?
If you're also interested, just go there and see what happens.
I don't think doing that's a good idea.
Count me out. I've got plenty of work to do here for the Homayani family. And take it from me, if you two really do decide to visit Port Ormos, you'd best watch your backs. Let's just say that the Eremites there aren't nearly as friendly as those here in Sumeru City.
Well, we'll try to not upset anybody.
There are even some extremists who go around shouting slogans like, "Retake Sumeru for the Scarlet King." Word is that more and more are joining their movement. They're becoming a real headache for Chief and the others.
Oh boy.
You bet they are. The Scarlet King's been dead for thousands of years. Now they start spreading rumors of his return. Ridiculous.
Again, interesting that the Withering is red. And there's the Scarlet King fellow.
Not everyone's like you, Chief. Even the desert natives who abandon their homes in the wilderness still wish to have a god of their own. Well, Traveler, that's about all the information we have for you.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Dia. And you too, Osfond.
More helpful than everybody else we've met here, so, or at least as far as the city is concerned, so, you know.
Since we've gathered all we could for the moment in Sumeru City, let's head to Port Ormos and see what we can find next.
Yeah.
Miss Dunyarzad is looking forward to seeing you both at the Sub-Zerus Festival, so be sure to get yourselves back here in time for that.
Yep, we won't forget. I'm sorry. Alright, we will.
Good. Then we'll see you both at the Sub-Zerus Festival.
Hopefully nothing terribly bad happens to it. That would be terribly disappointing. Where is this thing going? I'll fiddle with that later. There's a waypoint up somewhere. Looks like there's should be some stairs, maybe? I'm trying to read this map and I don't fully understand it. Perhaps. I'm sure there's like proper official way to get up here. I'd rather take a shortcut. Up we go. I need to go that way. Okay. That should be past that one village we found. the jump crews are facing the wrong way. So let's go. Just like at Disneyland. Everybody have your good puns. Well, I don't think there's such a thing as a good pun. I think they're all by nature bad. That's what makes them funny. At least I think so. I should probably get the icon statue if it's right here. So let's just go. Well, just go. Let me climb up this mountain. Ooh, there's a shiny. And flowers.
Hup. 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 Hup.
Strange.
Hup.
Oh, we're good. Where you at? Ooh, big friend. I probably will have to kill you. Let's go. I can take him.
I'll race you there. Scatter. Incoming. Let it rain. Speed of light. Got lucky that. Nowhere to hide. Get it. Bet you can't keep up with. Spring forth.
Hi, I'm here to ruin your day. Ooh.
Propagate. Don't blink. No escape. Scatter.
There we go.
Propagate.
Yeah. Those.
Come on, we can do it. I'll keep this close.
Where's the statue? Well, hello. Well, look at curious giant mechanism. Why does that thing look like an oversized rune guy? That thing is huge. That is huge, and it looks like it's from the same time period as the rune guides are from. That's cool. Another day we shall explore that. Now, let's get to this port. Let's grab this here. Yeah, that's me. Do I have any? Oh, I have one. Let's take a look at there's people nearby. People who need killing.
You put you on me.
Scatter.
All you got. Let's go. Let's move.
Let it rain.
You can't run.
With sword comes shadow.
Don't be a killjoy. We've only just begun. Miscalculated.
well done.
I'll protect us.
You need to hurry up.
Ouchie. Let's dance.
Fry.
Law of the jungle.
You need to hurry up. This was well done.
Incoming.
You need to hurry up.
Propagate.
Roasted fries.
What's up?
You need to hurry up. This was well done. An unfortunate fall.
Propagate.
That's done. Let's go back to the boat. Birds. Climb the boat right where nothing bad can happen. We're going over here. So we need to turn around. Over here looks good enough. Park. Pretty cute little port. Grab that. This is trigger. Cool. Let's see what we're doing.
Come and have a good look yourself. Traditional spices of the highest quality, made with pride and experience.
You've got a deal. I can't thank you enough for always looking after my business.
Believe me, I'm not making this up. Several Eremite mercenary groups are nearly in open conflict, but does the core of 30 care? And that's not all. Did you know that...
Wow! Talk about hurly-burly! This place is busy! Well, guess that's only to be expected for the largest port in Sumeru. Maybe it's because of what Dia told us earlier, but Paimon can't seem to shake the feeling that there's also danger lurking in these crowds.
I think there's danger everywhere we go.
Ooh. Let's get our bearings so we can start looking for leads. We know that whatever the Academia lost is related to the gods. But other than that, we don't have much else to go on. told us to try posing as academia students while asking around. Paimon checked the Akasha on the way here, and the academia doesn't seem to have any research facilities in Port Ormos.
I don't think... I'm not sure if posing as something or not is a good idea. Because if, because we won't know what we're doing, so we won't be able to back up the story if we needed to. So I think introducing ourselves with a massive lie is not a good idea. Especially since neither of us look like we're from here.
Paimon doesn't get it. Won't we look even more suspicious going around saying we're academia students and asking about the stolen item?
Right. We should figure that out before doing anything else.
Well, given all the people that come through here every day, if there's any information to be found, Paimon bets we could find it in the market. Let's ask around and see what we come up with.
Mm-hmm. Hello, person.
Welcome. How can I help you too?
Hi there. We would like to ask you a question. Do students from the academia ever come to Port Ormos?
Of course. Especially around this time of year. Students from Sumeru City that are about to graduate often come to Port Ormos to cut loose of it. Many people often talk about how hard it is to get accepted into the academia, let alone graduate. But those who finish their studies and go on to become full-time researchers at the academia have it even harder. Sure, we may not be Sumeru City, but Port Ormos offers beautiful scenery and a stress-free environment. Some even say it's good luck to come to Port Ormos, so students and researchers come flocking here when things get to be too much at the academia. You see over there? Those are students from the academia.
They look pretty serious. Maybe even a little worried.
They've been looking worried and miserable ever since they got here a few days ago. If you ask me, the life of a merchant is better. So long as the Akasha teaches us what we need, then life is good.
Seeing you so dependent on one piece of tech from an organization whose intentions I do not trust makes me nervous.
Those students seem to be discussing something. Let's see if we can listen in.
I don't know if that's a good idea, but okay.
It's no good. I've tried asking around, but I haven't been able to learn anything useful. Not to mention that a bunch of scary-looking Eremite mercenaries have been posted along the streets now.
There's been a lot of fighting between the different Eremite factions in Port Ormos. If we choose to move on our own, then it would be wise to steer clear of them. Especially the group that's constantly shouting some stuff about the Scarlet King and some resurrection. I've even heard that the Citadel of Regzar is starting to get fed up with them. What was that group called again? Ein something or other?
They're called Ein El Akhmar. Today, I heard that the thing we're after might be in their possession at the moment.
Why do they have different colored hats?
Wait, come again?
Don't you see? Many of the Eremites in Port Ormos deal with trading this kind of thing. They're usually pretty wary of outsiders, but not so with students of the academia. It's because the kind of goods that students are looking for aren't the kind of goods that Eremites are after. As long as they know you're a student, then deals can be made. I've heard that Ein El Hakmar likes to set up shop at the Jafar Tavern. Supposedly, if you're willing to part with 500,000 Mora, they'll give you info on anything.
Wait, did you say 500,000? If information alone costs that much, then how could we ever afford to buy what we're looking for? I guess we might as well give up on trying to graduate this way.
I wouldn't worry too much. Our field of research is very niche. Who else could possibly be after that kind of shady knowledge? I bet it's practically worthless to anyone aside from us.
Well, I guess that makes sense. Then the only thing left for us now is to find a way in. Why don't we all just pool our money together and pay for the information?
Whoa! Did niche field of research and shady knowledge? It all sounds pretty suspicious to Paimon. Is knowledge something people just buy and sell like that?
It's very suspicious indeed. Whatever was stolen from academia was also related to knowledge.
So, what's your plan?
Let's go to this tavern.
Didn't you hear what they just said? Buying information is going to cost us 500,000 mora! Have you lost your mind?
Valuable information is worth the price. I won't let them off easy if it turns out to be a scam.
Oh, alright. Paimon never thought she'd agree to parting with that kind of mora. But if you know what you're doing, then we should give it a shot.
I have no idea if this would be worth anything, but I want to go over here and see what's up. Hello, you are. Where are we going? Probably up here. Go. Going this way.
Port Ormos is pretty great. There's so many new and interesting things. Not to mention all the tasty food. Sumeru's largest commercial port sure lives up to its name. Look at all the merchants. And everyone seems excited just to be here.
Not everyone, I'm sure. No one quite as excited as Paimon.
How did things end up like this?
All thanks to your artistic license. That's how. I should have made you wait until we got an update from Tanja.
But when I finished the prototype Aranara yesterday, you agreed that the kids would like it. That's why we tried bringing it out for a test run today.
Well, I never thought they'd dislike it so much.
Oh, what should we do?
Here we go. They sound distinctly less than excited.
Whoa. Yeah. Compared to everyone else, they seem really down in the dumps. Let's go find out what's going on.
We have more important things to do.
Hey there! Paimon's name is Paimon, and she's a traveler who was just passing by. Is there something bothering you?
Oh, I noticed you two a moment ago. Welcome to Akara Crafts, the best toy store in Port Ormos. At least for now. What's bothering us is this prototype Aranara. To start with, could I get your opinion on it?
Prototype Aranara? You mean this wood carving here? It looks like a mushroom monster to Paimon.
It doesn't look very happy.
Oh, there we have it. The verdict is in. What a headache.
Mm-hmm.
Not the first negative feedback we've had.
Yeah.
So, what exactly is a prototype Aranara?
So for context, Aranara are magical creatures in Sumeru
we
fairy
we've met
tales
a
that
few.
live in the forest. For the store's 20th anniversary, we plan to release a series of hand-carved toys based on the Aranara stories that kids know and love.
It doesn't look squishy enough.
This is a prototype we made to get an idea of how they would react.
Well, you did it wrong. There's the problem.
When we put it out there, the reaction was not quite what we'd anticipated.
Because they barely look anything like the little creatures they're supposed to be.
They thought it looked like a mushroom too, huh?
No, worse than that, actually. I can't quite describe it, though. And I'm also not very good with kids. Maybe you could ask them for yourselves.
You work at a toy store.
This is not an Aranara. No way.
I completely agree.
I've read Uncle Tanja's Aranara and the Ill Little Fungus. It says that Aranara are supposed to be chubby and squishy. The carving looks nothing like that.
Precisely.
Toys do look better when they're round and chubby.
Honestly, I don't think it should be a word carving at all. I think it should be like a plushie.
Uncle Tanja said in Aranara's vow that you can deceive the eyes, but you can't deceive the heart. This carving makes me feel lost and confused inside. I don't think the creator put his heart into it at all. It's nothing like an Aranara. Ooh, didn't put his heart into it, huh? Oh, sounds like one of those things that's easier said than understood.
Absolutely.
Cassid and Alia didn't like this carving, but I think it's okay. It doesn't look too happy, so it's kind of pitiful in a cute way.
Aww.
Oh, a positive review!
Yeah, so I would totally ask my dad to get it for me, if it wasn't meant to be a Nara.
Oh, well, that took a sudden turn for the worse. We asked the children for their opinions.
Oh, how did it go? Has it maybe, grown on them at all?
Unfortunately, no. You two need to go back to the drawing board at the carving station on this one. It should look more huggable.
Oh, this is such a shame. Why isn't Tanja back from Gandharvaville yet?
You could have that.
Oh, the kids kept mentioning an Uncle Tanger too. Who is he exactly?
Uncle Tanger is a famous children's author here in Port Ormos.
Oh boy.
He wrote quite a few stories in the past, but none of them were popular among children. Just like our prototype Aranara.
Yeah, I wonder if that has something to do with some of the culture here in Sumeru. Because there seems to be a distinct dividing line between adults and children and the arts and researchers and stuff, which is probably not helping.
But around a year or so ago, he suddenly had a eureka moment or something, and suddenly the children loved every one of his stories.
Yeah, because he probably went from... I suspect he probably realized that what he was missing was heart. Because that's the problem here, I would suspect, is that you're just trying to sell a toy as opposed to making something that's like actually meaningful.
Oh, that's right.
At least
My
as
little
far as
Gafari
emotions
loves
go.
his stories too. The whole reason we decided to make these carvings was because we saw just how popular the Aranara are among children.
Yeah, when you make something for solely that purpose, people can tell. Like, we all can tell. And if you had tried a little bit hard, if you know, you had some of your own soul into this, you probably wouldn't be having this problem. You're just trying to make a product to make money as opposed to making something that you yourself would like.
We asked Tanja for guidance, but right after he agreed, he went off to Gandharvaville with his son to look for inspiration. They haven't returned yet. We were running out of time, so we had no choice but to carve an Aranara based on our own imaginations.
Well, your imaginations suck.
As you can see, this was the result.
Which is, again, probably a side effect / inevitable outcome of the decisions the Academia are making. This is kind of reminding me of when we were hanging out with the Raiden Shogun and that one dude with the milk, and he was like, "Oh, don't be mad at me for doing something different." Same concept here, I think. Like, they're following the leaders of their nation, sure, but the problem is that they're not. Somebody here is missing part of the picture, so to speak. Like, there needs to be a certain amount of balance between both things, and everything is out of balance, and that lack of balance is causing problems in ways you may not really understand, you may not fully grasp until you're standing here and having a moment like this.
Oh, we have to do something. Hey, since you're the famous traveler, could you do us a favor and look for Tondra in Gandharvaville,
How do you know who I am?
He doesn't have to come in person if he's too busy. Just ask him to write down his suggestions and bring his notes back to us, if you could.
I will try.
Please, if only to put a smile on the children's faces. And, of course, you'll be well compensated for doing us the favor.
Yeah, if they were making these toys solely to make kids happy, I think this would be turning out better. But they're doing it just to make money, and that's causing problems. And also, I think their imaginations are bad. Because that's how this country seems to be operating.
They seem pretty desperate. Let's help them out. To see the kids smile. And also for our reward.
Okay, let's do it to see the kids smile.
Yep, let's do it.
Yeah, this thing's... Also, I think it should be smaller. Because they're like a third this size. First, we're gonna do this first. Let's do side quests later. I may do those off stream. Let's see the menu. Ooh! Recipes! Yes! Interesting.
Delicious food, freshly made and served.
Oh, here. Let's get all these recipes learned. Great, dude. It's gonna be like this. Here we go. Ooh, yeah. There we go. We're going over here. You have anything interesting? Well, that's neat. You have anything interesting for me to buy? No, thank you. And where do we go?
This is the place we heard those students talking about. Let's find a seat somewhere and see if we can spot the group they mentioned.
So then, what happened next?
You sit down and wait for some time.
Oh, you've arrived. Please, take a seat.
So, they think that they can go toe-to-toe with the boss? Ha! Once we reclaim the power of the Scarlet King, they'll be the first that the boss punishes.
They're nothing to be afraid of. Our main rival now is the Caracal Battalion. They've also amassed a significant amount of Mora this time, so we mustn't underestimate them.
How can the Caracal Battalion compete with the boss when they're nothing but a bunch of money-grubbing opportunists out for a quick Mora?
Yeah, with Boss's fervent devotion, he'll be able to use this power to bring our god back this time.
I don't think that's how this works. Because that's not hasn't how we've seen this work so far.
Huh. All these guys talk about is the Scarlet King. So they're probably the ones we're looking for.
I would suspect so, yes.
Greater Lord Ruka Devata. That traitor and her followers must not be spared. The day will come when the Scarlet King exacts vengeance on Sumeru, and all of them shall be punished.
What are they talking about?
Yeah, Paimon was wondering what they meant too. We should ask about that if we get the chance later.
I'm pretty sure if we go over there, they will try to kill us. So, just gonna throw that out there. Oh, we're actually gonna go over there and talk to them? That's a bad idea.
So then, what happened next?
Can I buy anything from you?
There's no difference between the desert and the sea.
What about you? See ya. Probably inside then.
So then, what happened next?
Nope. Okay, we're just gonna... Yes, I'm stalling, because I don't think talking to them is a good idea, but I guess we're doing this anyway.
Difference between the desert and the sea.
Huh? Who are you? What do you want?
I'm a traveler.
A traveler?
Yes.
Now's probably not the time to talk about that. Didn't the students say Eremites are wary of outsiders?
Don't like lying to people if I can avoid it. I'm a student from the Academia.
A student? What's a student from Sumeru City doing in Port Ormos?
I'm looking for info about a certain something.
Ah, well, if it's info you want, you've come to the right place. The question is, can you afford it?
Paimon can't stand to see so much more go. But there's no other choice right now.
Here, this is the merchant's address. Whatever you're looking for, you'll find it there. Hmm? Well, what are you waiting for?
I just have one more question.
Oh, that's right. We heard you mention the Scarlet King just now.
Don't
We're
tell
actually
me we're
interested to know
eavesdropping.
more because we're, archaeology students.
We could say we're history students. I feel like that would make more sense.
Fine. Since you've already handed over the Mora, I guess I can throw in a little extra info. As you can see, members of Ain al-Ahmar are devout believers of the Scarlet King. Years ago, the Scarlet King founded the great desert nation that was our homeland. It was an advanced civilization, far beyond anything you'll see in present-day Sumeru. The Scarlet King was the rightful god of wisdom, but he was betrayed by a companion he trusted. She even stripped him of his title, God of Wisdom.
So, you mean the traitor was...
Greater Lord Ruka Devata, yes. That shameless wretch destroyed the Scarlet King's civilization, and our ancestors were forced to flee to this land where we were made to suffer the tyranny of our enemies. Furthermore, she conspired with the Academia to cover up the truth of her actions, and create the merciful and benevolent facade for which she is now known. Ugh, just thinking about it sickens me. But the story doesn't end there, oh no. The Scarlet King isn't truly dead. The voice of the Oracle has been heard in the desert, prophesying his resurrection.
We'll see.
Mark my words, our god shall return. And when that day comes, all followers of the traitor and all the desert dwellers who have forgotten their true god will suffer retribution together. If
Chill,
what I'm
dude.
saying makes you shiver with fear, it might not be too late for you to become a believer of the Scarlet King.
Dude, if you want people to take you seriously, maybe don't laugh like an evil person. don't let out the evil maniacal laugh, and maybe people will take you seriously. Scarlet King is returning. Can you tell us more about the Oracle?
I don't have anything to say to you academia people about that. I think this conversation has reached its end.
Not just yet. This man is a fraud.
Oh boy.
You again? Deranged academia lunatic.
Yes, it's me again. I already warned you that if you weren't willing to sit and discuss things with me, I'd take measures to make things uncomfortable for you. Listen to me. That address he gave you is fake. Or at least, you won't find a merchant waiting for you there. This group has been boasting all around that they can provide information on a certain item as a means of luring people into their territory. Once you show up, they keep up the act until they have hard evidence that you want to purchase said item. Then they use that to squeeze you for all the more you're worth.
Hey! Shut it all, Hatham! What are you playing at, trying to ruin our business like this,
Thank you for confirming that everything he just said is true.
I told you the other day. I wish to discuss my terms with your boss.
Ha! The boss made it perfectly clear that he won't negotiate with you.
Yes, and in no uncertain terms. But that was then. It does not preclude him from changing his mind in the future.
I'm warning you. Don't push us, or this could get ugly. We don't usually get rough with people from the academia because it just complicates things. For a lunatic like you, though, we might just have to make an exception.
Do we have to intervene?
If you're suggesting that we escalate this from a verbal exchange to a physical one, I accept. After all, even the Archons used war to negotiate the ownership of Teyvat. If, on the other hand, we can't agree on any means of negotiation at all, then I'm afraid my next course of action will sting a little more than the mere falling through of a few business deals.
Why does Lamine look bored? Like, she's just like, we're doing this again.
I will jeopardize the Eremite's reputation, which I know you value above all else. I am quite confident that if I began to take such action, your boss would willingly approach me himself. However, I fear that by then, some things will have happened that cannot be undone. Also, a word of advice. I suggest you tell your boss exactly what happened here today. Otherwise, he might blame you for not telling him in the future.
What did you say?
Consider this. Have I ever failed to follow through on my word in the past?
This guy is really out of his mind.
Maybe take someone with a vision a little bit more seriously.
Okay, then. If you really have a death wish, let's meet a week from today. The pier in front of the Pharos Lighthouse, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, sharp. Don't expect us to hold back.
He has a vision, you idiots. Like, I mean, I know having a vision isn't, like, everything, but, like, you two look like just two random chumps, and he has a vision. Probably knows how to use it.
Not so fast. First, you return the 500,000 mora to them.
Oh, aren't you delightful?
Please, I beg you, don't provoke them. We can't afford any trouble with this crowd. They haven't even paid for their food yet.
Ah, Mr. Iman. There appears to be fewer staff in the restaurant recently. This wouldn't happen to be because they're all busy spreading the word to the students, would it?
Well...
Busted.
Someone who chooses to do business with a group like that really can't afford to get so flustered the instant someone confronts them about it. Consider the meal compensation for our silence. I'd say you're getting an excellent deal.
Whoa, did you see that? He not only got us our Mora back, but sent the Eremites running too.
We should follow him.
Plus, he seems to know a lot about what's going on around here. Let's catch up with him and ask some questions.
Absolutely.
He went that way! After him!
Person. Person. Where'd you go?
Wait up! It's Alhaitham, right?
What do you want?
Thank you for your help back there.
No need for thanks. My goal was to get to them, and you two gave me just the opportunity I needed. We're even. Oh, I advise you to keep your distance from them. Since they weren't able to make off with your Mora in the end, they might harass you again in the future.
I'm sure we can handle ourselves.
All right. Goodbye.
No, come back.
Hold your horses! We still have something to ask you about!
Yes, please.
Since you tore through their scam right in front of them, you must know the real story about certain something, no?
Who exactly are you two? And why are you inquiring about that?
I don't think we should be lying to this guy. I think we should just tell him the truth. That, hey, the guy in the Citadel sent us.
A student. Right. Look, you should know that those thugs conducting business with you had nothing to do with your lie.
Perhaps we can also talk terms. I know a thing or two about swordplay. Perhaps we can also talk terms.
Oh, yeah! She's really strong! Weren't you saying something about a physical exchange? We can help with that.
She doesn't even have a vision. Forget it.
Maybe not, but she can still use elemental energy. Otherwise, there's no way we'd go asking for info from from guys like that. Those high-headed thugs are definitely gonna bring a lot of backup for your next meeting. Even if you don't go alone, you won't regret taking us with you.
If you don't believe me, we could spar right now.
All right, I accept. Got a pen and paper? If you're searching for someone who sells that kind of merchandise, I'll give you one of their addresses, and you can try your luck. We'll reconvene at the appointed time by the pier. It doesn't matter if you show up or not.
It matters to us.
Since you were happy to give us this merchant's information, does that mean you can tell us exactly what we're after?
Yeah, sure.
You were willing to part with 500,000 Mora for something and you didn't even know what it was? Okay. Well, if you truly are as skilled as you claim, then you can beat the answer out of them when they become hostile. Look, if you've been making inquiries, then you have to know something by now. Tell me what you know so far, so I don't waste time repeating information.
We know it's connected to the academia somehow, and that not only do the Eremites deal in it, but some students want to get a hold of it too. What else?
Knowledge and the gods.
You know almost everything there is to know, but you're unable to compile this information because you've never seen the object before. This is what you've been looking for.
Am I supposed to know what that is?
Paimon can't tell what it is. It looks like some kind of ornament.
This is a knowledge capsule.
Oh no.
To put it simply, it's a vessel that can store a fixed
no.
quantity of canned
Oh,
knowledge.
no.
It's like a miniature Akasha.
Oh no. Oh no. Well, I saw the words knowledge capsule and my brain went like a time capsule. Like, is that like a crystal that basically holds memories and knowledge from a long time ago? Oh boy. I'm excited and terrified that we might crack one of those open and whoops, it's us. And oh, what are we doing?
Anyone who links it to their personal Akasha terminal instantly becomes privy to its contents.
Oh no. Anyone?
Correct. Anyone. Unlike the Akasha, which heavily regulates who can access what information, knowledge capsules confer their contents without any requisites.
Oh god.
That's amazing.
Oh no. I'm already seeing a list of potential things that can happen with these. I am both excited and terrified.
It's essentially a convenient and harmless vestibule for knowledge. Unfortunately, it's illegal in Sumeru to privately possess or trade them.
Okay. Excuse me. That's interesting.
They were created as a means for scholars to transfer knowledge gained from Irminsul into the Akasha, and are intended to be destroyed immediately after use. But despite strict regulations, some of these knowledge capsules will always escape destruction. After all, there will always be those in this world who are dissatisfied with life as designed for them by the Akasha and wish to change their fate.
'Cause fate's stupid.
Over the past century, a wide variety of canned knowledge has been leaked from the academia. Now, in Port Ormos, the valuable ones are a means to Mora for the Eremites. Meanwhile, those which the Eremites deem to be useless to them occasionally prove useful to the common citizens and hapless academia students. Well,
Right.
I think that about sums it up.
That makes sense because, now the thing the merchant might want to know probably isn't the same thing that a bunch of mercs are going to want to know. Like, they probably don't have enough overlapping interest for things to be, for them to care. Like, say you're some random person who sells apples for a living, you probably are going to care more about, knowledge relating to, weather and soil and rivers and, the kinds of things that might be, those kinds of things. Whereas these mercenaries might care more about battle strategies and how people worshipped Mr. Scarlet King. So, I could see how that's a thing that's happening. I heard that the Academia lost something recently. Seems like it's a knowledge capsule.
Oh, so that's your true objective.
I want to learn more about it.
With our current arrangement, I don't believe I can offer an answer.
Perhaps we can negotiate further.
You're still resolved. Fine. Let's talk somewhere with fewer people.
You'll find I'm extraordinarily stubborn when I want something. Especially since I'm... Also, I'm thousands of years old. I probably have infinite patience, to be honest. That's interesting. These are goods from Leela. Because that's not the Lucix Jade, and that looks like silk to me. Yeah. That's interesting. That's a neat little detail. Here, let's look around. That's a very neat detail that we're in a port. We get to see goods from the other port in here. Ooh, big chest. I want the big chest. Big shiny. That's good for a privilege. 10 out of 10.
A reward on the road.
Let's continue our conversation here. If you wish to learn more about the knowledge capsule that the Academia lost, then you must help me with something.
Of course.
I need you to find someone named Dory, a traveling merchant.
Okay.
Unlike the peddlers who hawk inferior knowledge capsules, she often has quality goods in stock. Some say that as long as there is profit to be made, there is nothing she won't dare to sell. She's guarded against people from the Academia because most of her wares don't comply with Academia regulations. I think she blacklisted me. I met with her informant, but it soon became clear that they had no intention of letting me get any further.
Why did she blacklist you?
Become one of Dory's customers and earn her trust. This is my condition for further collaboration.
Yeah, okay.
Why do you want us to meet with her?
Because he can't do it himself, and he wants somebody to meet with her.
Until you complete this task, you don't have question privileges.
Fine. So how do we go about doing this?
You two are outlanders who haven't been here for long, so Dory should view you as safe clients. I'll give you the informant's address and their contact password. Beyond the password, though, I have no way of knowing what other tricks she might have up her sleeve. You'll have to improvise.
I don't think we should use a password from him on the off chance that, like, because what if it's like, well, what if the password is something that tells her, like, hey, this person sent us, or we were sent by this organization, right? Because if he is truly blacklisted, that seems like a thing that it could be.
This is kind of nerve-wracking.
Yes.
The true challenge begins after you meet her. She has a keen nose for Mora and a shrewd eye for wares, and she only likes customers who she deems to have good taste. I'll prepare some funds for you. Buy her highest quality wares and earn her approval.
Okay.
We only just saw a knowledge capsule for the first time. We don't know how to tell which ones are good and which ones are bad. Is that something we can learn quickly?
Paimon raises a good point.
That's true. Have you two heard of elemental sight?
I can use it.
Oh? Well, that's a surprise. Guess I'll have to hold you in higher regard. Anyway, that ability should resolve your issue.
Okay, so use elemental sight and pick the thing that glows the brightest, I assume. Or glows at all.
Here are 2 knowledge capsules. Tell me, can you detect any difference in their quality?
They look the same to Paimon.
Try inspecting them with elemental sight.
Okay, gotcha.
How'd it go? Did you see anything?
Both look green. The one on the left shines
Rumor
brighter.
has it that higher quality knowledge capsules generally appear brighter when viewed through elemental sight. That's because knowledge originates from Irminsul, the root of Dendro power itself. The more powerful the knowledge, the richer it is in Dendro energy.
I'm wondering now if all this talk about her connection to this magical tree is going to solve what I've kind of referred to internally, or at least in my own head, as the Gnosis problem, which is that if every Gnosis is going to be a different chess piece, so there's only 6 chess pieces, but there's 7 Archons, we have a math problem. So is this solving that math problem? Is this going to be the replacement for that? Well, I guess we're going to have to find out.
However, some canned knowledge with a high concentration of elemental energy is of little use in contemporary times, so those capsules are of little value. Using elemental sight is merely a stopgap measure, but it should suffice for earning Dory's trust.
That sounds pretty impressive.
Here's a sheet with the informant's location and contact password, and here is the Mora for purchasing canned knowledge. Don't be cheap. You'll need to spend to catch Dory's eye. If there's any Mora left over, just keep it.
Okay.
Oh, and be sure to exercise some caution. There have been Matra present in Port Ormos lately. Your efforts will be for naught if they catch you.
Okay.
Matra?
Oh, good. Someone's finally explaining us. We've seen this word a couple of times, and they're just like, oh, we hope you know. I mean, I assume it's equivalent to the Ronin in Inazuma, but I guess we're going to get an actual answer here.
They belong to the Academia's regulatory body. They also handle cases of illegal canned knowledge transactions. Like I said, the Academia has banned both their trade and possession.
I wonder if they're worried about certain pieces of information entering the general public. Like perhaps if their old god did something bad, or if the new god is cooler in some way.
The Matra are razor sharp. You're in for nothing good if they lock their sights onto you. If you two want to back out, now's the time.
I'm willing to take that risk. I'll help you find Dory. I'm willing to take that risk. I'm not scared. I obviously you haven't heard of me, but I tend to fight gods and monsters on the regular, so some fancy police are not scary to me. Especially some researcher police.
Okay, then we have a deal. If you succeed in your dealings with Dory, come find me at the Wikella Funduk. We'll have an open discussion then.
Okay. He's cool. I like him, I
Out
think.
hit the road. Dory's informant is a traitor near Old Ormos. Let's follow these instructions and try to get in contact with him.
Mm-hmm. Hello, friend.
Hello. What are you two looking to buy?
I probably should have read it then. Tower's goofed. He wants to buy some raw, unripe. Unripe?
What a unique palate. We have unripe hara fruits, but we usually keep them in the back. I'll have someone escort you.
Following the paper got us past the first round.
Ronak, these two want to buy unripe hara fruits. Show them to the warehouse.
Got it. You two, please follow me.
Okay.
You two have a fascinating fashion sense. We haven't seen a customer wearing a Sumeru rose for quite some time.
Hold on. Let me think. Sumeru Rose means common merch.
Every ship deserves
No,
the best.
look again. We're obviously wearing morning flowers.
Ah, my mistake. I do apologize.
Whew. That pop quiz sure was scary.
Ah, the warehouse is up ahead. Please follow me. Before I retrieve your products, I need to confirm a few things.
Oh boy.
Please forgive me, but we may not have sufficient stock for you today. Earlier, many of our hara fruits were taken by mice.
I'm sorry to hear that. The trust meter is making me nervous. Congratulations to you. I'm sorry to hear that. Congratulations.
Thanks. If better goods come in, you'll be the first to know. You look like you have some skill. Why don't I pick out some fruits that'll make you dizzy?
I should have read the paper. Why did I not read the paper? Power's done goofed. Okay, dizziness with the side of tinnitus, please. First thing that causes heat stroke.
No, that's not it. The paper said that heat stroke is the answer to... He's cautious of us. Let's take a close...
Yeah, okay. We're gonna try this again. Where's paper? Let's look at this paper thing. Where is that? No. This? Read. We have this now.
Before I retrieve your products, please forgive me, but we may not have sufficient stock for you today. Earlier, many of our hara fruits were taken by mice.
Congratulations.
Thanks. If better goods come in, you'll be the first to know. You look like you have some skill. Why don't I pick out some fruits that'll make you dizzy?
Dizziness is the side of tinnitus, please.
Yep, that's the right answer. But eating horror fruit that makes your head and ears ring sounds like a bad life decision.
Would you like your horror fruits to be packaged in the Sumeru City or Port Ormos style?
Port Ormos
Wow,
style.
you two sure are generous customers. We'll be sure to package your products beautifully. Okay, everything has been confirmed. Miss Dory is waiting for you up at... Shoot, it's the Matra! Run!
What? The matcha? Where? Oh, Hatham said we're done for if they catch us. We gotta get out of here.
Don't say names out loud, Paimon. I'm trying to be sneaky.
We don't know this area, so let's follow that informant.
Usually people follow us. Usually there are. Friend? Buddy?
He ran that way.
Keep going.
Look, he's over there.
Cool. Grab that. Ooh, can get those. You can keep towing up. Just keep going. Ooh, waypoint. Grab, grab, grab. Sweet. Ooh. Oh, that's a weapon. Right. I need to check something real quick. Weapons effect. I think I can level this up again. Nope, not quite. One more, I think, should do it. Friend? Friend person.
Hey, if you're hiding from the Rishbaland tiger, come this way. Another password. Huh? Oh, that voice came from behind the building on the right. Here, over here. You can stop running now.
Okay.
So you were the one who was calling out to us just now. But, are we definitely gonna be safe here?
Well, you're a curious-looking fellow.
These two good customers wish to buy some horror fruit, Miss Dory. And if there's nothing else, I'll just excuse myself.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Huh? Wait, you're Dory? I'm unsure thought you'd look a whole lot scarier.
I wonder if she likes to go swimming. Oh, that's terrible.
Hey, what are you trying to say, Princess Pea-Brain? I can be scary enough when I need to be, believe you me. If you don't watch what you say, then you can forget about doing any business. But it seems you two have actually done pretty well so far. Not only did you manage to find the informant, your reactions were also pretty sharp. You don't really look like criminals or anything, but I bet my Mora that you've been involved in some shady dealings, haven't you?
I mean, there was that one time we were helping a Fatui Harbinger, but, like, it's fine. We kicked his butt afterwards.
I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a compliment, but we'll take it. I can't risk doing business with people who start huffing and puffing after just a few paces, no matter how much more they might have. Not only will they get caught by the Matra, but they'll also get us into trouble. As decent folks trying to run an honest business, we don't need any of that. Wouldn't you agree? So that's why I prefer to have customers like you. It's your first time here, but don't worry, I won't ask too many questions. Even if you wish to buy enough knowledge capsules to decorate your house with, please knock yourself out. As long as you have lots of round, shiny Mora, then we're all good.
Can you show us your products?
Yes, of course, of course. Go ahead. Help yourselves. Voila! Wow, she has a trove of Karen's knowledge. Whew. She'd probably be in serious trouble if the Matra caught her with all
So
this.
we want the ones glowing the
What kind
brightest.
of products do you seek, my dear customers? Don't worry, I'm not interested in your reasons for buying. I can, however, offer some suggestions. Take this one, for example. An analysis of the sociological ideology and dialectics of the Hilichurls. Only 3 people in all of Teyvat have ever studied it, making it extremely rare. It's on sale now for 350,000 Mora.
We know somebody who might want that, but that's not what we're here for.
Yeesh. Who would want to be an expert in that topic?
We actually do know somebody.
Or how about the architectural styles and construction methods of Teyvat in the early Archon War period?
Maybe. That's a good maybe.
With this one, you can become an expert in historic architecture preservation and find an excellent, well-paying job in nearly any nation. Ooh, now this sounds like it could be useful. 2 million Mora, and it's yours. No discounts. Whoa! That's a lot of Mora! Of course, you are free to pick whatever your heart's desire. The contents and price of each knowledge capsule are indicated in small text on the body of each one, down at the bottom. Alright, let's try the method that Al-Haytham mentioned.
I'll take this one. And this one. As well as this one.
You've really got a good head on your shoulders, and quite the eye for quality.
You pick and choose a variety of canned knowledge.
I'll take these, please and thank you. My oh my, you are blessed with a taste for both the exquisite and the extravagant. Customers like you are a rare breed. 1 in 100. No, 1 in 1,000 even. Listen, I have a special offer for you two. If you spend just 100,000 more, you can pick any knowledge capsule of your choice up to a value of 1 million Mora.
Okay.
Say what now? Hey, did you hear that? Spend another 100K and we get a capsule worth a whole million!
Calm down, Paimon. Don't let her trick you into spending more. Calm down, Paimon.
All the canned knowledge we just bought is easily worth 500,000 Mora. If we spend just a little more, we can get something worth 1 million Mora. Isn't that a fantastic deal? Think about it. We've gone to all this trouble to get this canned knowledge. And so far, everything we bought belongs to Al-Haytham.
Paimon!
Aren't you even the least bit curious about how this whole canned knowledge thing works? We're talking instant knowledge here. Don't you want to try it yourself?
I think you're the one who's curious. You just want to see me try it. Honestly, I kind of want to try these too, just to be honest. Like I am terribly curious what could easily be in one of these. Because this seems like it's something that could potentially have some very interesting secrets. And again, like I've said, our memory is unreliable. And if that tree knows things about us that we don't, oh boy! You just want to see me try it.
Come on, come on! We still have around 100,000 of Al-Haytham's Mora left. So let's put it to good use by finding something useful for you. Ahem. You got a deal, Dory. We'd like to spend an extra 100,000 Mora. Excellent. Then please, select from this fine collection of canned knowledge over here.
Of course, if we are in one of these, and she doesn't notice, either she doesn't check what's in them herself, which I guess could make sense.
second. I thought we could choose whatever.
Oh, but my dear customer, the knowledge capsules over here are worth 1 million mora each. I'm sure discerning customers like yourselves will be able to find something to your liking. Please, take your time.
Oh, Paimon has a bad feeling about this. Let's use Elemental Sight again to check these.
Alright, I'll have a look. And they're all trash.
So, what did you see?
They all seem to be equally bright.
So, they're all worth about the same amount?
Which checks with what she just told us.
Well, anyway, the mora's already been spent, so let's at least try to find something useful.
Right.
Let Paimon take a look here. An introduction to traditional Sumeru brewing techniques, the art of growing spices, an overview of ancient runes. Oh, how about this one? Sword fighting techniques 8. Not sure we'd ever find volumes 1 through 7, but at least this knowledge should be useful, right? Let's go with this one.
I really wish I could check these myself. Fine by me. Whatever makes Paimon happy. Fine by me.
Dory, we'll take this one.
All right, very good. I'm expecting some new goods in the next couple days, so be sure to check back again soon. Whether it's canned knowledge or anything else you need, bring your mora to Dory and doors will open.
Our dealings with Dory went smoothly enough. Let's head to Wakala Funduk and meet up with Alhaitham. Hopefully now he'll finally tell us about what the Academia lost.
You know, with all the ones that seem to have slipped out, it's interesting that they're mobilizing such a strong force for this one. Right? Like, it's one thing to just have patrols around the area where they're typically sold in general, but it's interesting that they seem to be really desperate with this one in particular. So, it's interesting. So, what's in the one that we're missing? And it would be funny if the one we picked out turns out to be important. Don't mind us. Alright, friend.
Ha! You two made it. And from the looks on your faces, you were successful.
Whoa, there's so many people from the Academia here. Why would you pick this place as our meetup spot?
Well, Wakela Funduk is under the Academia's control, so naturally the Academia has people working here. I came to Port Ormos under the pretense of conducting official business.
You're a pretty daring guy.
Relax. No one here is interested in anything we say, and the Matcha won't come here. Okay, now, tell me how your encounter with Dory went.
You spent all your money and you got 4 of them.
Okay, we did what you asked. So, can you tell us about the knowledge capsule that the Academia lost now?
Before that, I have to ask. Why are you two so intent on tracking it down? You don't have to answer, of course.
It's not a secret or anything. You just want to meet with the Dendro Archon.
Yeah, she just wants to meet the God of Wisdom and ask her about something important. We've been in Sumeru for a while now, but we still haven't found a way. When we heard that the Academia had lost something that might be related to the gods, we came here in case it turned out to be our lucky break.
In that case, you're on the right track. A short while ago, the Academia lost a knowledge capsule in the desert. It's supposedly a divine knowledge capsule.
Oh boy.
Use it, and you'll gain the wisdom of the gods.
Oh boy.
Wow, there's really such a thing as that? Hey, if we find it, do you think we could learn how to meet the Dendro Archon? Ooh, or even how to find your brother?
I highly doubt it has any mystical properties, but it does indeed exist. And it's right here, in Port Ormos.
So, where exactly?
Well, I think if
That's
you do
what
that...
we need to find out next.
Yeah. If he had that piece of information, he wouldn't need us. Your goal is to find it too.
I won't deny that.
I am investigating because I'm curious as to what the Divine Knowledge Capsule truly is. As you know, the Eremites in Port Ormos also have their eyes on it. It is an extremely precious item. The knowledge contained within may bring great power or wealth to whoever has it in their possession.
Or something far worse.
Several brigades have been vying for ownership of it as of late, but there is still no victor. My personal finances and connections cannot compete with those of the Eremites. After attempting various methods, I finally managed to reach a tentative agreement with several brigades.
Oh boy.
I agreed to forego ownership of the Divine Knowledge Capsule in exchange for the opportunity to study it. After all, there's no harm in understanding what it is. However, there are those who are less amenable to negotiation, such as those from Ain al-Ahmar. They adamantly believe that the Divine Knowledge Capsule contains the Scarlet King's power, and that he will return to this world when they obtain it. They refuse to let anyone from the Academia tarnish their deity's soul.
So you kept hounding them because they refused to cooperate with you?
Yes. Ain al-Ahmar isn't exactly wealthy, but its members are determined to get that capsule by any means necessary. To that end, they've resorted to many methods more foul than fair in order to amass sufficient funds. So, I've been sabotaging their business to force them into negotiating with me. The Divine Knowledge Capsule should be up for a secret auction within the next few days. Each brigade will place their own bid, and the prize will be covertly given to the winner. To ensure the capsule's security and to evade the Matra's notice, the winning brigade will not publicly disclose their victory. Unless I know whose hands the Divine Knowledge Capsule ends up in, my agreements with them will fall through. Dory is the most reliable source of information, but that avenue was previously closed to me. With you on board now, the situation is different.
In other words, you wanted us to befriend Dory so you could find out where the Divine Knowledge Capsule is.
Yes, you can say that. But this arrangement harms none of us. The day after tomorrow, go back to Dory and try to purchase information on the Divine Knowledge Capsule's whereabouts. If she has no information, wait 2 days and approach her again.
Okay.
If I get the opportunity to study the Divine Knowledge Capsule, I will relay my findings to you. Will that suffice as compensation?
That's exactly what I want. Thank you.
Okay. Then we'll meet up in 2 days.
Haytham, before you go, we actually bought a knowledge capsule for ourselves, but we're not sure how to use it.
You two want to try using a knowledge capsule? Sure, I can teach you.
This is making me nervous.
Doing so right under the Academia's nose is a bit problematic, though. What do you say we head to the outskirts of town?
Okay. I like the music of this place.
All right, this place works. Show me the capsule you purchased.
Here.
Sword Fighting Techniques 8. Huh. A combat class knowledge capsule. This class is something of a rare find these days, since most have been taken by the Eremites to augment their battle capabilities.
Really? Aw, yeah, what a great buy!
If you want to determine the efficacy of this capsule, I can evaluate your combat ability. However, effects will likely be minimal if you already possess a high amount of strength. We can conduct a controlled experiment where you fight 2 battles, one before using this knowledge capsule and one after.
Okay.
While you fight, we can use an Akasha terminal to monitor your various physical parameters.
Oh boy.
There may be variances in your physical strength between the 2 tests, as well as a disparity in your opponent's abilities. But don't worry. I'll run statistical analyses afterward to mitigate any confounding effects.
Wow! Hatham! You must have been one of those guys at the academia who got top grades on everything. Paimon's curious about something, though. You definitely weren't one of those students who needed canned knowledge to graduate from the academia, right? So, why are you risking getting caught by the mantra for this capsule?
I'm also curious about this.
When you are unable to understand a researcher's actions, most cases can be attributed to curiosity. This is but one theory.
Sounds like you're trying to avoid the question.
All right, let's begin the test. Just fight as you normally do.
Oh boy. Don't go over here. Oh, there's enemies. Cool.
Propagate! Germinate! Scatter!
All right. I'll link your Akasha terminal to record data. The next step is to use this knowledge capsule.
Okay, but like
Hold
how
it in
though?
your hand. I'll help you establish a connection with it so you can activate its power.
Into inventory and activating the shiny. Oh boy, what have you done? Okay.
Hey, how are you feeling?
I felt something for a moment. Whatever was inside the knowledge capsule became part of my memory.
You mean that it worked?
I would think so.
All right. Time for round 2. Fight with the same composure as before.
Propagate!
I don't feel any different. But why would you?
Now, I'll start recording data again.
Hatham, how's it going?
Well, the knowledge capsule you purchased did improve her combat capability. During the second fight, her overall fighting performance increased by 0.073%.
Wait,
More well spent?
how much?
0.073%. That's basically zero.
Dory's such a jerk! She totally scammed us! 1 million mora? This thing isn't worth a tenth of that amount!
Of course, this could be because she is so powerful that the capsule's contents were unable to produce a substantial increase.
I mean, look, if we think injecting her with memories of hundreds of years of sword fighting, I have news for you. She already has that. I mean, you know, she's, as far as we know, potentially thousands of years of experience of sword fighting.
At the very least, this test allowed me to gain more insight into you two. Our deal seems increasingly worth my investment. I'm heading back to Akela Funduk. I await your response in 2 days' time. This is Mora for when you ask Dory for information. Pay her as much as she requests.
Mm-hmm. We're waiting. Let's check some achievements. So I should probably let's check. I think I have enough gems for actually. Yeah, quite. I don't think so. That's actually double check anyway. Yeah, I would need 200 more. So just short. It's okay. Let's get back into town properly and hang out somewhere. Come on. Wait.
Let's see Dory today and ask her about where the Divine Knowledge Capsule is.
Trust me, I'll find you your perfect color.
Here, over here! Oh, welcome back, my loyal patrons. What can I do for you this time?
How do you know about the Divine
You
Knowledge
name it.
Capsule?
Canned knowledge, supplies, or anything else you need. I'll find a way to get it. Where there's a waterfall of Mora, there's a way. Can you really get us anything we want? Anything at all? Aha! So it appears that canned knowledge alone is no longer sufficient for your opulent appetite. Then please, oblige me. Tell me what you have in mind.
I'd like to buy info on the whereabouts of the Divine Knowledge Capsule.
Oh! Our new customers with pockets as deep as yours would undoubtedly crave something more profound than ordinary canned knowledge. But you know, that kind of information isn't going to be cheap. After all, I had to work really hard to weasel my way into the auction site. Not to mention that if anyone found out that I was the leaker, I would be in big trouble. But how can we be sure your information is accurate? Paimon's curious. Because to me, anything of value is what I consider to be my supply. Therefore, I must always be aware of what's hot on the market in order to secure more sales. As for the information's authenticity, well, you've no need to worry about that. I used a camera to take a picture of the transaction. That way, no one can dispute it.
Name your price.
It's always a pleasure doing business with such sterling patrons. Now that you've paid in full, here's the scoop. The Divine Knowledge Capsule was purchased yesterday by a certain Misery, the leader of Ain el Ahmar.
Ain el Ahmar? You mean the Eremites who worship the Scarlet King?
Ah, so you're already familiar with them. The group has done everything in their power to obtain the Divine Knowledge Capsule. After all, they believe it contains the power of the Scarlet King.
Why do I have a feeling that's gonna contain something far worse? Either far worse or far more relevant to us.
That Divine Knowledge Capsule is unlike any other canned knowledge I've seen before. It was glowing bright red.
Is that why they think that? That's interesting.
The capsule is clearly visible in the picture I took. You can look for yourself.
Thanks for the info, Dory.
Please, it's my pleasure. It's all thanks to discerning customers such as yourselves that my efforts yesterday were not in vain. Please, don't hesitate to contact me if you ever need anything else in the future. More effort, Dory, opens doors.
Well, we figured out where the Divine Knowledge Capsule is. Turns out, it ended up in the hands of Ain el Ahmar. Let's head back and talk to Al-Haytham.
So, bright red, huh? That's interesting. Like for withering. We'll see what's in this then. Because I'm sure we're gonna get our hands on it somehow and take a peek.
Al-Haytham, we got the info you wanted.
Really? All right. Let's hear it.
It's in the hands of the bad guys, or the guys. Look, I tried to pronounce this, but I'm sure I would absolutely butcher it. So, it's feelings are mixed on it.
Dory even gave us evidence to verify the intel. Have a look.
Huh, look at that. Clear as day. It must have taken some guts just to infiltrate the scene of the Eremites' transaction. But then to get close enough to take a picture like this. Bold move, Dory. Very bold move. All right. The person in this picture is indeed Misery, the leader of Ain el Ahmar. And the glowing red capsule he's holding appears to be the Divine Knowledge Capsule. In which case, if we play our cards right, when we confront them next week, we should be able to force them to show their hand.
At first, Paimon didn't get why you were provoking these Ain el Ahmar guys. But now, it sort of makes sense. Everything's playing right into your hands. After we defeat them, we can finally have a serious talk with their boss and get them to lend us the Divine Knowledge Capsule.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Thank you for your time and efforts.
I think we're gonna have to take
a few
it by
days
force.
off while I make some preparations. Let's meet up again on the afternoon of the arranged date, 3 o'clock sharp.
I'll be
See
there.
you then.
A few days later, on the day of the meeting with person.
Haytham sure is taking his time. Where could he be? Oh, there he is.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Let's head to the pier in front of Faros Lighthouse.
Yep, let's go.
Lead the way, friend. We need to go a long way, if there is a long way for sure. You sell you. Oh, hello. Gimme. That's useful. You'll cause trouble.
I'll hate them. I knew you were crazy, but I didn't know you were crazy enough to actually show up.
It was I who demanded that these negotiations take place. I was more worried that you might go back on your promise. But to your credit, it appears that you're sticking to your word. This is turning into quite an occasion. I also brought some backup. I assume you don't mind.
Backup? Aren't you the brat from the restaurant the other day? You've come to support this lunatic because he helped you out? Fine. Your funeral.
Aww. He has no idea what he's in for. Oh, this is gonna be funny.
I'm not going to mince my words. Once we're done with you, you'll be nothing more than fish food. Get 'em, boys!
It's adorable.
Uh-oh, here they come. Good luck, you two.
That's close enough.
No one escapes my... Cut to the chase.
I'll be back.
Following orders.
Feeling lucky today?
Let the show begin.
Scatter!
I'll take my
Academia scum! Boss! Finally! Did you use it? Great! Now we can...
Oh no.
Boss?
Oh no. You don't look so good, buddy.
Boss! Boss! What's wrong?
What happened to him?
We have to cut his Akasha connection, now.
Target acquired. Arrest him. Do not impede our work. Is that understood, Al-Haytham?
Of course. I was only trying to help.
Take him away!
He's sneaky.
World, forget me.
Oh no. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. There it is. There it is. There it is. Oh no.
What in Tibet just happened? It's like that big guy suddenly lost his mind.
It looks like he used the Divine Knowledge Capsule.
You mean the Divine Knowledge Capsule did that to him?
We probably shouldn't. We probably shouldn't use that. Speaking of which, the patient did mention.
Oh yeah. You mean how some researchers go insane after getting knowledge from Irminsul?
Oh boy. Oh dear. Oh dear.
I've heard of numerous incidents of researchers in Satyavada life going insane. The state that man is now in suggests that this is a similar situation. This divine knowledge capsule does appear to be linked to the gods, but beyond that, it doesn't seem anything like the rumors suggest. Possessing it doesn't grant you divine wisdom or power. Did you hear what he said? World, forget me. What could that possibly mean?
All I know is that is not the first time we have heard those words. Nope. That did. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh no. What's in there? We need to take a look, I think. Exactly what I heard before at Herman's soul.
If the mantra took him away, then that means the Academia got the Divine Knowledge Capsule back too. What a shame. We were so close.
Yeah, but our friend here stole his gizmo, his gadget thingy. The thing. The thing that the information got transferred into. So I think we're good enough.
Still, Paimon didn't expect the Divine Knowledge Capsule would be so dangerous. Imagine if we tried to open it. Oh, who knows what would have happened to us?
I think we're about to find out.
As things stand, there is no reason for me to remain in Port Ormos. I believe our collaboration has also reached its end.
I saw that. I see you,
We were
buddy.
so busy trying to find the Divine Knowledge Capsule that Paimon forgot to ask you something. Since you're a member of the Academia, do you have any idea how we could go about meeting Lesser Lord Kusanali?
Truthfully, I don't. Lesser Lord Kusanali appears to exist outside of Sumeru's entire administration. Most of the time, you wouldn't know she exists at all. Moreover, since the Academia possesses the Akasha, a symbol of our deity's wisdom, scholars have no reason to desire to make contact with the deity herself anyway.
Everything about Lesser Lord Kusanali is such a mystery.
I'm heading back to the Academia. How about you two?
It's almost the day of the Sub-Zero's festival. Maybe we should head back too. We've been rushed off our feet over the past few days, so maybe a little rest and relaxation will do us good.
You have a point. Let's return to Sumeru City.
Then we'll part ways here, Al-Haytham. Until we meet again.
Hopefully he won't go crazy. Please don't do anything stupid with the thing you grabbed.
Now, do I deal with this thing first? Or should I produce
he
the
took the
report
thing.
that the higher-ups require?
Okay. Yeah.
That's enough work for today.
Oh boy. Oh dear. Bad things be happening, I think. Bad things be happening. Well, we're gonna teleport here. And I think I'm gonna call it here for tonight. Oh boy. Oh boy.
We didn't miss the Sub-Zero's festival, right?
Shush, Paimon.
Let's hurry and find Dunyarzad. Paimon thinks she must be around the Grand Bazaar, since she showed us around there last time.
We will be doing that next time. For now, we're gonna call it. Thank you all for joining me and seeing where the story is going. I'm excited for next time. So yeah, see all of you then. Bye bye.